Okay, welcome to the channel again. If you saw the last video, um, you know that we're going to start painting this fella right here. This is from, it's not from a movie, well, kind of. This is a crouton kit, and it's Timothy Chalmette. I guess that's how you say his name. I'm probably butchering it, but anyway. But Crouton had wanted to depict, I guess, from the movie The King, or try to depict it or something. And you know, he did an armor piece for him and everything, and I think it came out really nice. You know, I really liked the movie. He also was on Dune, if you guys, obviously, if you guys know. Um, I think he did a very good likeness on sculpt. And if you're the first time in the channel, just a disclosure, I'm not a professional artist or anything like that. I'm pretty much a beginner. I started the painting maybe 3 years ago. So this is more for like beginners. You know, people have been asking me how to paint facial tones and skin tones and stuff like that. So this is gonna be, you know, I'm gonna do this along with you guys. If I make errors, you're gonna see them right here. I'm gonna try to keep it as short as possible. You know, these things, they take a little bit of a time, so I might break it up into different segments or different pieces. But I'm gonna try to do my best to try to keep it short and sweet and to the point. But I do like to blabble. So, what you see on the table on my workbench here is pretty much a lot of the stuff that we're going to be using for this project. And the paints that I'm going to be using are the Fairy Flesh set from Vallejo, and maybe a couple of the Malefic Flesh set, also from Vallejo. These are from the Nocturna series that they came out with, you know, not too long ago, like maybe a year, maybe a little more than that. But, you know, I've been using these to do Brett from Ground Effect. It was the first one that I saw using them, and I figured let me give them a try. I used other paints and stuff, but these two have everything that you need to do flesh set. And you can pretty much just use these for flesh sets, period. For all times of also Caucasians and stuff, they all got it right here. And if you want to do a little fantasy, same thing. All right, so I go to his channel, check out how he does it and how he uses it, and it's phenomenal. He does a really good job painting and stuff like that. And you know, whenever I use anybody's ideas or anything like that, I'm going to shout out their channel or their name or whatever. So check him out when you can. Like I said, I'm a beginner. I learned from those guys how to paint. And I'm not saying that I'm a great painter or anything like that, but I'm going to show you how I do it. And if you like it, great. And if you learn something, even better. So, you know, follow along with me if you want. You know, we're going to try to do all this stuff together. I'm going to learn how to do mistakes, and I'm going to learn how to get better. Learn to get better along with me. So, one of the things that I do use, besides Vallejo colors, I do use the Pro Acro. These are great paints. And depending on the type of flesh that I go for, if it's like a darker tone or a lighter tone on the Caucasian side, I either use, just for the base, I use a tan flesh, or for the base, I'll use a shadow flesh. Sometimes I go with both. You know, sometimes I use a little shadowing for this one, depending on the figure and what I'm looking, kind of effect that I'm looking to try to get. So I think I'm going to start off with this one. I'm going to start off with a base. This has already been primed. Okay, it's been primed gray, and I did the hair a little bit in black just to get some of that color in there. All right, and to see kind of where I want to go. Sometimes I dwell on things and I look at it and see which way I want to go with it and stuff like that before I even put a coat of paint on it. But it comes in the hair comes in two pieces. You know, his hair is kind of crazy, so, you know, Crouton did, and Crouton does a great job sculpting this stuff, guys. You got to really give him a shot if you're going to print anything. And another thing that, you know, I didn't mention in the last video, if you're going to buy an STL to print, buy from the original person who made it. Support those guys. Sorry about the phone. Support those guys, because these guys, they put a lot of time to do this stuff, you know, and if you want them to keep on coming out with stuff, you know, support the original artists. Don't go out there and buy those STLs from Etsy or from some crooked people who are sending you. Half of the time, you're not going to get the stuff that you want anyway. If they're pre-supported, doesn't mean that those pre-supports are going to work on your printer. Trust me when I tell you, I had so many failed prints with pre-supported stuff that, and I tried because he does give you sometimes pre-supported stuff. Even some other fellas out there that they when they supply their STLs to people who buy them, they'll give you some files that are pre-supported, and it doesn't mean it's going to work on your machine. So, um, support those guys because sometimes you get a lot more than what you think from from if you support their Patreon or you just buy them directly from them or whatever. Um, there's a lot of these guys that give you a lot more. Like from Kutan, you're gonna get a full size kit and a bus. Okay, and then you got Ritual Casting. He goes crazy. Check him out, guys, because I just printed something from him. I can show it to you real quick. But there's so much extras that you don't get if you buy from one of those crooked sites. They're only probably going to give you STL but you're not going to get the bus, or you're not going to get the extra stuff that comes with it and things like that, or the support. Because if there's something wrong with that file, the dude is going to try to fix it. All right, and he's going to try to, or he can give you some ideas on how to try to do a better job of printing it. So support those guys because they put a lot of time to it. And don't be buying those crooked stuff or whatever, because people are just trying to make a quick buck out there, and these things are not that expensive. A lot of times these guys, they run sales, and you could probably pick them up for the same price or cheaper than what they're trying to sell you on those crooked sites. So check them out, please. Support the original artists all the time. All right. And again, if I learn something from some other guy from a YouTube channel or whatever, I always try to give him a shout out because I'm here learning just like you guys, and we can go along and learn together. But I'm going to show you some stuff that I did. You go check out my previous video. My intro is a little long, but I do show some stuff that I did and what resources I've been using to try to learn things and stuff like that. I put a lot of links up there too. Okay. In between videos, because it's been a few days since I did the other one, I've been doing a lot of printing, and one thing that I want to do on the channel is paint this one, but not the next video, but the soon to come. This is by Mega. This is Medusa. This is amazing. Look at the size of this thing. Right? I made it a little bit bigger, I think. Very hard to print for me. I'm not a professional printer either, so. But I had a hard time. I had like about 5 fails before I was able to get this bus to come out this way. And I'm very happy with the front, but I'm not happy with the back because I did lose a lot of detail in the snakes. If you guys got any recommendation, if you printed this, give me a shout out and tell me what you did, because I had a very hard time. I had a lot of failed prints, and I lost a lot of snakes and stuff like that on the last one. I did only lose like 2, and I think I might be able to hide some of this imperfections over here with another snake from the failed print, which printed out pretty good, and I might be able to sculpt it in there and replace the 2 that I'm missing over there, and glue them on and things like that. But I've been working on this and sanding a little bit and getting it cleaned up and all that stuff like that, and I already glued the leg and the torso on it. But this might be the 3rd or 4th kit that we're going to paint together here. Alright, so keep an eye out for this one, because this one is going to be really cool. Like when I talked to you about failed prints or stuff that doesn't go right, this is the tree that she sits on. It's freaking huge, man. And I had some problems like there. I started sculpting a little bit of a putty there, and I had a partial fail on this part right here. This is 2 pieces. I still have to fill in the gaps, and I still have to resculpt this piece. But this is like, I had to fill this in. There's a big, huge hole right there in that part, and I started to sculpt it, and just putting a little base in there, and then I'm going to put another layer of putty and start working the little stuff from the tree and everything. And there's a couple other pieces I got to fix in here, but once I get it done, I got an idea how I want to go about this whole thing. So we're going to do this together on the channel. Alright, and then the other one that I printed this week was this is from Ritual Casting. Now this dude is amazing with the detail. And check out his website, Ritual Casting. Look him up. I'll put a link in there. But this is like a kind of depicting from the movie Aliens: The Space Marine. And this is Rodriguez, he calls it. All right, this is another one. It's huge. She's very tall. I printed it 150 times percent from what she was originally. Originally, it was smaller, and I just wanted to go a little bigger because I got a couple ideas on what I want to do with her. And maybe we'll paint this down the road once I get everything else printed for what I want to do with her. All right, I got a couple ideas. I don't know which, but the detail. You can see the stitching on the clothing. And like I said, if you go check him out, you're going to see all the extras that he gives you and stuff like that. And you're not going to just get this kit right here. You're going to get a ton of other stuff. It's got some nudity in there too, if you are offended by that. But there's a ton of detail on the clothing, and you're not going to be able to see it now because I don't even have it primed. She's not even right here. There's a lot of detail in here on the shirt and stuff like that. And the one cool thing that I'd like that he does is he gives you mag wells already made. You can put a magnet on that. You don't have to drill it. You just got to get the right size magnets to go in there. Same thing with the neck, with the bottom, with the torso that goes into the hip. All mag wells. You put a magnet in there. I don't recommend gluing it. I recommend putting epoxy on it because those magnets are really strong. And once you start pulling it, if you want to pack it, if you want to go to a show, you want to show it, if you get really good or whatever, things like that, or you just want to, move it around or store it or whatever, take it apart, box it, nicey nice. You don't have to, go crazy trying to figure out how to pack it or whatever. But, it gives you magwell sort of stuff, and I think that's really awesome. All right? That's all the details of these guys that know how to do this stuff. They know how to print and know how to cut. That they give you this kind of option is the detail on the clothing. Forget about it. Stitching, the clothing has a little bit of a texture to it. He also gives you a swatch where you can practice the different textures that he gives you, which I think is really, really good. Let's get started painting on this guy. All right, enough talking about the other stuff. We'll get to that eventually. So like I said, we're going to use this fairy set. I'm going to start off with using the base color here. I'm going to airbrush. Things that I'm also going to be using, washes, pastels. Alright, so I'm going to give credit to the people that I learned some of these things to do and stuff like that too down the road, as we go along. And I'll try to put the links up again. But, there's a lot of links on my previous video, my first video ever. Go check it out on the channel. Just hit those links and stuff like that. If I forget to mention them here or whatever, but like I said, I'll try to do my best. All right, so the airbrush that I'm going to be using, it's not that expensive. This is a Sotar 2020. It's all around good airbrush. Since I already have it in prime, I'm not going to prime it, but I only use this one for priming. Okay. When we do pastels, though, I do use two different types of acrylic coating on these, and I use the matte for just the acrylic paints, and then for when I use the pastels, I'll throw this stuff on. Is the Bear matte clear. I learned this from somebody else. I'll try to give her credit. She does a lot of work with pastels, but I didn't learn the pastels from her because I used to use these for this pastels. I used to use the Testers the spray enamel, the matte, but I had problems lately with this one, so that's why I switched over to the Bear, because I'm very afraid sometimes to using this because I had sometimes ruined under my model after I painted it, and I had to go back in there and start all over again, which was a real pain. So I recommend the other one. The other one hasn't given me any trouble yet. Hopefully it won't. But, again. So that's what we're going to be using. If you got, there's a lot of different cheaper airbrushes out there too. If you want to, you can use brushes. Eventually I'll get down to in the channel. We'll use just brushes only, and we'll try to do that. But right now for this one, I'm going to use the airbrush, and I'm going to show you real quick how I do it. It's not that hard. Just pressure is one big thing. You know, always keep it at around 18 psi. My compressor, right? And you know, trying to keep that tip clean. I'm gonna teach you a couple of tricks that I do as I paint. You know, sometimes it gets you know, I got a fan going here, so it might dry a little bit quicker, but you know, we'll get to it. All right. So first things first, let's put a base coat on this guy. All right. What I use is these clips. You know, you can use a piece of foam. If you get the clips, you don't have to buy this whole setup or whatever. You can use a piece of foam. Okay. Stack them in there, hold them. You can paint it. I take this outside. When I use, when I spray this stuff, I spray it outside. The Krylon, anything like that. Any kind of clear coat that you put on it, don't do it inside because this stuff stinks. It's toxic. Do it outside. Do it in your garage if it's too cold outside or whatever. But don't do it inside in the places where you work or where your family is because it's toxic and it stinks. So you don't want to be doing that. Okay, poisoning your family. But you know, I'm going to take this hair out. I'm going to put it over here for now. I'm going to clip him. Or actually, he has a hole, so I'm going to use a skewer. Sometimes these skewers, they hold very well, and you don't have to mess around. There you go. Okay. So because of this, I'm not using. Wait, let me see something. Let's see if I can use the clip. I'd rather use the clip than use the skewer. No, it's not gonna hold. All right, because I don't want to touch the model as I'm painting, and I don't want it to move around too much. So you can put a little glue in there. You can always cut it later if it gives you a hard time coming out or whatever. But you could also put a little putty, or I'm going to teach you guys how to use silly putty. Comes in very handy. Trust me when I tell you. We're going to probably end up using it eventually down the road. But I use it for masking, and it doesn't damage your paint job after you cured it. It comes right out, very easy to come out. And it doesn't stick like, you know, just, you know, sometimes if you're going to put it where, like in here or anything like that, it's going to stick inside those little grooves and stuff like that, so it might be a pain to come out, but, you know, like a flat surface, never had a problem with it. Great stuff. I don't know, a lot of people use it, so I'm going to give credit to everybody, but, you know, that, you know, out there, but, you know, a lot of people use the silly putty to mask. It's not a new thing, it's been out for a while. Guy's been using it for a long time, and I'm sure somebody, you know, they learned it from somebody else too. You know, Matt Morozic, he uses it a lot. He's got like a stack of them. So does I think Vince Vale uses it a lot too on his channel. So if you guys go check those guys out, you know, you'll see that, you know, how they use it and what they do, and you know, one of those guys, they have like a big bucket of it. I just buy the little eggs, and you know those things, they last a long time. You know, you'll know when you can paint it over and you reuse it, you know, stuff like that. So I mean, they don't go bad that fast. They'll last you a long time. So if you buy a bunch of eggs, you know, you can use those and for masking. And so I'm gonna use this little foam. These are the little guys that I showed previously, and you know how I did it. If you go to your previous video, and you'll see what I'm talking about for practice. I just found those and I put them there for now, but I'm going to use this right here. There you go. Okay. You don't have to touch it. If you want to grab it just by the stick and, you know, do your job, your paint job right there. This block is not that huge. It's pretty light. Okay. So, there we go. Alright, first paint color that I'm going to use the Tan Flesh from Pro Acro, just to give it a base. Now this stuff has different colors, the Vallejo, but you know, I find myself that I have to mix it to get the right base coat color. And the Pro Acro, I think they got the best base colors for your figures. All right. They also have an olive flesh, but it's very bright. I use that just for highlighting sometimes. All right. Then they got the shadow flesh, which is a little bit darker. You can tell, two different tones. One is lighter and one is darker. Alright. So let's see, he's depicting a European fella in armor. You know. in a heavy armor, so I'm gonna assume that he doesn't see the sun a whole lot, especially if he's wearing a helmet. You know, so Europeans tend to be, you know, a lot lighter in flesh tone. So let's go with the tan flesh, and shadow flesh. All right, shadow flesh is a lot darker. Tan flesh just gives it a little bit, but you're gonna end up lighting it up anyway as you go along. All right, so it's a good base color for what I want to start with. So let's start with that. Thinner. All right. So how you thin your paints? I like to thin my paints to the consistency of like a milk. Okay. How many drops? There's no. It depends how much paint you put in there. It depends how much thinner you put in. It all depends on. I got a ton of brushes here ready to go, just in case I wanted to take out. I got this beat up brush that I used to mix inside the well of the airbrush. So always mix up your paints very well before you use anything. This one has little ball bearings in it. So, okay, and what I do first is I use airbrush floor improver. I put a couple dabs in there. Just 2 drops. That's it. You know, that's just to lubricate the needle on the airbrush. And then I use a homemade thinner. I learned how to do this in an airbrush cleaner from Red Dragon Model Works. I put up a link on the last video. I put in like about 4 drops just to get it in there, so this way I get a good mix. And he has a video how to make that stuff, so go check him out, because you know, airbrush cleaner and airbrush thinner, the stuff that comes in a bottle like this is like $15. Airbrush thinner. It cost me maybe $2, maybe less, to make this. Alright? It's just isopropyl alcohol, denatured isopropyl alcohol, and distilled water. And that's it, pretty much. Alright? So I'm going to put a few drops to get started. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's a good amount just to see what kind of consistency we got going on in there. Alright, and then just start mixing. Alright, I already put thinner, and I already put, and this stuff is pretty thin too. So, it depends on the paint too. Some paints come really thick, and some other paints, you know, they come in pretty thin. So, alright. So there, it's a little bit thick. See, I want it to run a little bit more than that. Okay, let me see if we can show you right there. I want that paint to run just a little bit more. Alright, just a little too thick. Just put a couple more drops. Okay. Let's see what we got here. Alright, that's better. Put a little bit of water. I always keep a little bit of thing of water here so I can clean my brushes real quick. Alright, and what you do is you try it. First, what I want to do, you want to do a little backwash on the, don't like go really hard, you go real gently, you know, and don't push the needle in when you do this. What I do is just like I squeeze the sides of the needle and just give it a little. Don't push the needle. Try to be real gentle with it, because you don't want to break that needle or try to damage it. You see, I just give a little, just to mix the paint in there, a little extra. That's all it is. Okay. So then I use the paper. Just want to see what. That's pretty good. Let's see if I got that pressure right. That's about right. All right. So let's start painting. Alright, so what I'm going to do, you want to give this an even coat, okay? Your first even coat for your base color. Alright, so you don't have to go from any angle or particular, just Make sure you cover it. You can leave some of this gray coming out because, you know, remember that skin tone has different colors, different variations. So if you want to leave a little bit of the gray, it's not going to hurt it. All right, it's actually going to help you trying to get more a realistic look to the model. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to give it more like a figure 8. I'm not squeezing too hard. I'm not pulling back too hard on the airbrush. And you don't want to oversaturate this this whole thing with paint and have it running. Do small coats. Do a little bit of coats at a time. Wait till it dries. Acrylic paint dries pretty quick, guys. All right. So, and I got a fan going behind me. So it's probably going to dry pretty quick. But just do like figure 8s. Get in there. And make sure you get the ears in here, behind the neck. If you do the hair, don't worry about it. You're gonna repaint that. I just wanted to give it a little bit of base, you know, on the hair before, so you get an idea what your colors are looking like, you know, because it's not all gray, and then, you know, just want to give it a little variation in there. All right, that's my compressor going. Sorry about the noise. I also got my 3D printer going, so if you hear a lot of that background noise, I'm sorry about that. Alright. So you get a nice color in there. Okay. I have a blow dryer, but I don't have it plugged in yet, so, you know, but you can throw a blow dryer. Just wait for the paint, you know, get the paint to dry. This part's a little wet. This one's dry over here, so let's go over here. Let's do the figure 8s. Get in here. Try to get underneath the hair. There you go. Make sure you get the ears. Like I said, if you want, you can leave some of that gray. Because the gray, that's just going to help give it a little bit more realism. Underneath that forehead over there. Alright. Make sure you get under the eyes. There you go. Okay. That looks good. It's got a little bit of the gray sticking out still. Just, you know, just a little bit, not a lot. That's all you need. Okay. Sit that puppy right there, let it dry. Switch paints. Actually, you know what? If you got a lid for your airbrush, put it on, because I want to save that paint, because I think I'm going to go directly into, what do you call it, start giving a little bit of variations into that skin tone. So what you want to do right now, and I'm going to pause this and start over again, because I'm going to go outside and I'm going to spray. Go to that. Wait for it to dry all the way before you do that. Don't ever do it with wet paint because it's going to ruin your paint job. Alright? Make sure that it's wet, that it's very dry. Use your hair dryer if you have to. It's very warm outside today, so this just dry with no problem. And then just do a coat of this. Real quick. Coat what you painted. Alright? And come back and we'll keep on going. Alright? So let me pause this. And then we'll come back. Okay, so I sealed it. One thing you need to remember that this is foam, and if you're going to use a sealer, don't seal it with the foam because the foam is going to melt. Okay, so I took the stick out and I just sealed it, and I gave it a coat. So now it's already sealed. So now we're going to move on to doing washes. Okay, that's your base coat. We're going to do washes now. All right, so I have these little cups here. Okay. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna do some washes. And what I like to start with, I like to start with a yellow. Okay. What I'm using for yellow is Un Yellow from Vallejo Game Air. It's thin, but you're gonna thin it a lot more than this. You're gonna only put like a drop in there, and you're gonna put water, and you're gonna wash it, and then you're gonna clean it off with a sponge, any kind of sponge, whatever. You're gonna clean off most of it because you just want to just give it a different tone, different variations. Your skin color has different colors and different tones to it. It's not just a flesh color, like you think like it might be just like a pink or whatever, but it has, everybody's a little different. Everybody has different colors in their skin. You got blues, you got yellows, you got browns, you got blue, and stuff like that, and reds. So we're gonna give the skin tone a little bit of variation just to give it a little realism. Now you can go like this if you want and start shadowing in and putting highlights and stuff. That's okay. But if you want to go with a little bit more realistic look, a lot of people use the same method. One guy that uses is a guy from SciShow, Bernal Escobar. Go to SciShow channel and check out the Superman that he does. Okay, and I learned a lot from him from there, too. And other people use the same technique and stuff like that, but Bernal is a really good painter. He's amazing the stuff that he does, and he has a little how-to video on the SciShow channel. It shows you how to do all this kind of stuff. So check him out. I'm going to use some of his method in here, okay? And we're going to learn this together here if you want. You can try it. Put quite a bit of water in this, all right? A little bit more. That's about how much, one drop of paint, that's how much water I put in. Okay, so I'm going to mix it a little better than that. Use the back of my paintbrush just to make sure the pigments get mixed in real well. Alright. And this stuff bites pretty quick, and you don't want to let it dry. You just want to put it in and then wipe it off with the sponge and just give it a tint. That's all you're going to do. You're going to give it a little bit of a tint. You're going to start off with the yellow. Okay. It's going to look a little jaundiced, but this is, you're going to be doing a lot of other stuff to it. So let me get a brush. I'm using this one. Just any brush. This is a cheap old brush that I got around here. And I already sealed this, right? So if I make any mistakes or anything like that, I can always, wipe it out. But okay, so start doing a wash on this with the yellow all over the skin tone. Okay. Just go all over the skin tone and just put this stuff generously over it. Okay, don't forget to do the back of the neck. I don't know how much this stuff exposes outside the armor. I could look at it later, but you still want to make sure you get everything. Okay, that's good enough right there. Clean my brush in the water because I'm going to use it again. And sponge. Alright, just go in there and dab it off. Dab all that yellow off. Alright. Not all of it. Some of it is going to bite onto it. You can see a little bit of it. If you think you need to put some more, do it again. Alright. Just make sure that you don't pool it anywhere or leave any pools of paint, because that's gonna pretty much ruin your paint job if you leave the pools of paint in there. Alright? That's good. It's got a little yellow tint to it. Make sure you get all the paint out over where it might be sitting. You don't want that paint to sit there. Okay? You can still use a little bit that you got left there and put in places that you might think it needs it. Just put it around. That's it. It's got little skin tone variations in it. Alright. Just give it a little bit of a tint. I'm going to take a picture of that and put it up as we go along. You know? You'll see the different tones that it's going to show up. Alright, so now what you do is you're going to let this dry again, and then you're going to seal it again. And then you're going to come back and do another wash. Okay? So I'm going to pause this again. I'm going to go outside. I'm going to seal this sucker right now. And I'm going to come back and we're going to do another color. Alright, so I'll be right back. Okay, so you sealed. And the next wash we're going to do is we're going to do like a little blue. So I'm going to use this Citadel Dragunov Nightshade. Alright, it's got a little blue in it. Dark blue, you know, but it should work. So I got put a little bit of. I hate these things because you know you just can't pour it in. It's just not a droplet. You know, they could have done a little better job, you know, making bottles for these things. But I'll put a couple drops in there. That's it. I want to use that again, so you're not wasting anything. Water. Yeah. Okay. I'll put some clean water in there. Start mixing my paint. Use a bottle of water. Use any water. You know, I got hard water in my town, and I don't know what the kind of effect the chemicals will have to the paint. So I try to use like bottled water whenever I mix my if I use water to mix my paints and stuff like that, because I don't know what kind of effect that stuff is going to have to the paint, you know, and if it has any adverse effect to it. So, you know, I use bottled water. You know, just get a bottle here. It lasts me a long time just to mix paint and stuff like that. You know, I think that's good. All right. That's a wash right there for blue. Mix it up. I used the end of the crappier paintbrush I use for mixing crap. Make sure your pigment's all nice and mixed. I sealed my kit. It's dry. You know, I used before I got on, I used the hair dryer real quick. That's all it takes. It doesn't take much. This stuff, you know, dries very, very fast. All right, so try not to use if you want to use the sponge, cut the ends that you use and use that. But I'm going to use another one, a new one, to do the blue. All right, so I want to get that yellow in there. I already did that. All right, again, I cleaned the brush before, so use that to paint on. Let's paint the blue on. Same thing, generously go all over the place, and then you're going to sponge it off. Okay. All right, so blue is another one that bites in very well, so get it everywhere. Just make sure that wherever you're going, you're not going to let that paint just pool and stay there and dry like that, because then it's not going to look right. If you put it in the neck, behind the neck, alright, again, stuff on the forehead, make sure all the color gets in there, and get in there and just do this thing. Alright, so you get the sponge out and just start sponging. Alright, there you go, that's all to put on that. Alright, your brush. Side for now, and start sponging. Just make sure you get all that. See how it goes into those crevices? Make sure you get that out, because then it starts to drip, and it's not going to look right. Alright, sponge, sponge, sponge. So it gives it a blue tint. Okay. Doesn't mean you're done. Still a little bit more to go before we start doing, you know, more skin tone, more of the regular skin tone, like you guys know. You're gonna do a little a little freckling. All right, just to give it a little more. See, I got pools of blue in there. Between the nose and the eye. Let's get that out. Okay. Just don't let it pool. All you want is a tint. Okay. Just a tint of blue in there. Okay. You're going to let it dry. You're going to seal it again. Every time you do something, you seal it. Because if you mess up, you can clean it up, and it's not going to hurt what you did before. All right. All you're going to clean up is what you messed up at that time. That's it. Okay. Right there, that's kind of coming out. Looks like he's bleeding blue. Alright. Looks very good. My lighting kind of sucks. I know that, and I apologize for that. I'm trying to work on that. I'm trying to do better. I'm just learning how to do all this video capturing stuff, and I know there's a way to mess around with how things reflect back, but I'm just trying to figure that out right, before I got on. And just hate wasting time, and doing other stuff and not painting and trying to show you guys. So, all right, that's enough right there. That looks good. It's got plenty of tint in it. Make sure that I got all the pooling out. All right, you're gonna let this stuff dry. I got a hair dryer here. Doesn't need much. Okay. Alright. It's got, see the blue now, right? Yeah. It's a little tint of blue. It's got, you can still see the yellow, you can still see the flesh. I know this, there you go, right there. Right. Keep on tinting it. That's all you're doing is just tinting. That's it. Still see the flesh color down there underneath that. Alright. Okay, so I'm going to pause this again. I'm going to go seal it, and then we're going to come back and we're going to do the last one, which is red. Okay, so I'll be right back. Okay, so let's do the last one, which is as far as the washes go. Let's do the red, and the red I'm going to use Angron Red Clear, all right, from Citadel again. Okay, so let's make sure you shake it well. I apologize if you guys were expecting to see a workbench that was going to be nice and clean and stuff like that. Hey, you're going to be disappointed, all right? Because this is how I work. I get it, stuff's coming out, and I don't, put whatever I can away when I can. But this is how pretty much is your workbench probably going to end up looking. You see those guys on YouTube how they paint, and you don't see none of their crap that's laying around. Well, this is how it is. All right, this is how my workbench is. I always got stuff. I try to keep stuff that I need, close. You're gonna come in and work. You do the work, then you clean up afterwards, stuff like that. But this is always is. So sorry to disappoint you if you're looking for something a little more professional, but this is how it is. Sorry. All right. So next, get some of this one, and I'm gonna throw a couple of drops of red in there. Two. It's just air. Alright. Clean that out. Again, for this job. And these pippets are pretty cheap, so you can throw them away after you're done. But try to save money. Things are not as cheap anymore, as it used to be, so try to save money wherever you can. Let's put some regular water in there. Just make sure you got that consistency you want. Be able to pull that out, Let's get that red in there. I think that looks good right there. So all you're doing is washes, guys. Just washes. Right now. All you want is just tint, and that's it. Okay, let me mix that up a little bit better. Get that pigment mixed in with the water really good before you do anything. All right. All right. So there we go. I tinted it up. I sealed it, dried. I could, you can tell when it's dry. You don't want to do this if it's wet because you're going to leave your fingerprints on it if you seal it and you touch it. So if you know it's not what, if you're not sure if it's dry yet or nothing like that, and if you sealed it, like here, if I would have touched there, you're not ruining anything. This is going to be covered by hair, but you could tell if it's wet or not. But this stuff dries pretty quick. All right, so but don't touch the stuff that you're working on because you will ruin it. All right. So here we go. Just same thing as before. You're going to tint it. All right. So you're going to put generously all over the place. All right. And then back of the neck. All right. Don't let it pull. You're going to pull it with the sponge. And that's it right there. Now the red just grabs really, really quick. So I think we're gonna do 2 layers of red, and the reason why I'll show you in a minute. I want to try something. It doesn't work all the time. I don't know if it's the paint, the type of paint, or whatever. But we'll try something in a little bit. I'll show you. So I'm gonna do the first one. Take everything out. Don't let nothing pull. See the red tint already. Okay. Just keep going. Keep taking it out. Alright. Some in there, inside the hair. I don't want this stuff to drip out. And then stain. Too much. Make sure you get all that out. Because you don't want it to start dripping. And like inside the crevices right there, where the hair meets the skin. I can see that there's paint in there. Alright. Make sure you get that stuff out underneath the ear. Get it all out. A nice little tint to it. There you go. That's your red tint. Same thing. You're going to seal it. Alright. That looks good. Actually, I think I'm going to just leave it. We're not going to try anything silly right now. We're going to do it. It works better on bigger figures. You put a little denatured alcohol, and what it does, it breaks up the red. It gives a little veins. But I'm getting that effect already here a little bit, and I don't want to do more because I think if I go another red, again in red, it's going to just be too red, and I don't want to do that because then it's going to be hard to cover that. So I'm going to leave it like this. I have some good variation going on. I can see the blue sticking out a little bit of the yellow. The yellow's not that strong, but I can see a little bit of that, and then the flesh tone underneath, and everything's starting to mix in together really nice. So I'm going to leave it like that. I'm not going to go crazy, like I said. Let me just try to get that red out right there. I can hide that with shadowing later, but, it's not too bad. Something with this right here. Alright. But I got a little bit of variation. I don't know if you guys can see that because it doesn't focus very well, but you can see a little variation in the skin. Alright, same thing there, in the face. It's got like it looks a little more natural that way, Alright, so we're going to do a little flickering now, alright? So I'm going to seal this, come back, I'm going to start doing that. I'm going to use some of these colors, the blue maybe, and the red to do some flicking. We're also going to add some brown. All right, and I'll come back and we'll start doing that. All right, I'll show you how to do that. Okay, so I sealed it, and I noticed that the blues and the red and the yellows that we use, they have some variations on the skin. If you don't feel like you need a little bit more, you can always flick. I'm going to show you how to do the brown, because I think that's the only color that I need right now, because the other ones, they came out pretty good. And I'm going to try to show you, I'm going to put pictures up too, so you guys can see a little bit better. The lighting here sucks, so I understand that. I apologize, but I'm going to try to show you. I just did this. You can see some of the, so this is when you have that much clarity. You can see some of the freckling in there. You see that? It naturally was done by the washes that we did. Okay? So, since it's a small figure, it's a small head, you don't want to go overboard. Alright? If it's a bigger head, a quarter scale bust or something like that, then you want to do more and get a little more variation there. But for a small one like this, I think we're just going to go with the brown in there now. Okay? And I'm going to show you how to flick with the brown, since we can do it with the other colors if you want to. The only thing is that, you might want to thicken, put another drop of color in here. Not water, but a lot of, you don't want it too thin, but you don't want it too thick either. And what you're going to do is you're going to flick it. I'll show you how to do that. And you want to make sure that you have a little bit of water on the side, and you have cotton balls ready to go. Okay? These cotton Q-tips, people call them different things, but you want to. I use two different types. I like this one to get, because it has the point, and then it has the regulars. And these are harder than these. Okay, these are a little bit softer, so you can get in there. Okay, but you want to keep a little bit of water on the side. And if you overdo it, you don't want big spots in there. You want to get the little spots because of the size of the head, obviously. But you want to get the little ones in there, and you clean off the big ones. Okay, so I already sealed this. So if you go in there and you clean it, you're not going to damage or do anything to the bottom layers that you did already. Okay, that's why I keep on saying seal every time you do something. Seal it. If you feel confident you don't want to seal, that's fine with me. But things happen, and has happened to me where I haven't sealed it, and I have to go in there and I have to do everything all over again. All right, so you don't want to do that. Seal it. Clean up after, if you do something, make a mistake, and go in there and clean it up. That's it. All right. So let's get that brown ready, and let me get a little bit of water on the side over here. Okay, just so in case if I need it, and go in there and use it. You don't want to let that stuff pool or dry too fast. Okay. There's like a little bit of water there if I need it. And make sure your brush is clean and it's dry. It doesn't have water in it. Okay, I'm using the same brush, and it's an angle brush. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to dip it into the paint, and I'm going to flick it. Okay, right into the figure like that. Okay, you can flick it all over. Okay, and you're gonna let the spots go in there, and you're gonna go in there and clean it. Everybody has spots in their skin. I got spots in little pimples and whatever, age spots, you want to call them whatever, but those are variations in the skin. A lot of the stuff that you see that's very pronounced right now, it's going to be hidden, because you're still going to go under there with layers. You're going to be doing layers on top of layers and this stuff. Okay, so we're going to do some pastels after this, and then we're going to go into overspraying, and then doing the highlights and the shadows and all that stuff. So don't get worried that there's too blue, it's too red or whatever. You don't want to go too strong, but you want to give it some variations on the skin. That's what you're doing. You went from putting a base layer to tinting, all right, all this stuff different stuff, and then flickering, flecking the skin with little spots and stuff like that. Okay, and then from there you're going to start going after more layers and stuff like that, and we'll go along and do that. Okay, so be patient. Do this. I know it takes a little bit of time to do this stuff, but the outcome is always, for me, is it's been, this stuff is the way I've been doing it. It's been giving me really, really good outcomes. Okay, and it's worth it. A little bit of work that you do on it. All right, so I'm going to get a little bit of brown. Remember, I'm going to try to go a little thicker this time. But this stuff is like it's already thin, very thin paint, so you don't need to put a whole lot of water in it. Okay. Alright, we get the water in there. Close this up. Let me set this stuff away here. I'm not going to need it anymore. Get it out of the way. Give me some room. Alright. Okay. A little bit of water. Doesn't need a whole lot. Remember, we want to try to keep that sucker a little bit thicker this time. So I'm just going to put like, start off with two drops in there. Alright. Leave this here on the side for now. Just in case if I can get it. Okay. Let's see what it looks like in there. Alright, I think that's pretty good. Just 2 drops. That paint's already very thin. So you want to put a little bit of water in there just to thin it out just a little bit more. Not too crazy. Alright. And then, you know what you're going to do is you're going to put your clean, dry brush into the paint. Now this is a lot. Sucked it up right away. Alright, but here, this is what you're going to do. You're going to flick it. Alright. And it's going to leave little spots on there. I might leave some bigger spots, some little spots, but the bigger spots you want to get rid of. Alright, with the little swab there. Alright, let's get rid of some of this paint. Just push it up to the side like this. Alright. And start flicking in there. Alright. Get some of that color in there. Some of the brown. Get it all over. On the neck. Don't forget the neck. Cheeks. Front. Alright, you guys might see it. It's very subtle. Okay? Very subtle. That stuff is going to get, you know, a lot of it is going to get covered up, but, you know, some of it is going to stick back out. It's not going to be like, alright. Let's do a little bit more. A little bit more variation in there. Alright. Just what you want. What's the effect that you're going for? Okay. So you want to clean up. Get the little water. Make sure it's not overly soaked in there. You know, like just want to get enough so you go in there and you see a big blob, like a big spot. Just clean it off. It comes right out. Okay. Just with the water. That's it. You got too many together. Just, you know, you might want to give it a little more variation, a little more spread. That's fine too. Like I don't like this one. This whole bunch right here. Just clean that off. All right. Spots everywhere, okay? It's not a lot of big spots I put in there. I like this brush. It's not too soft. It's not too hard. Okay, you don't want to get a soft one because then, you know, I haven't had good luck with them, but, you know, and the hard ones too. But, you know, you get a one that's about medium. You got a good spring action to it, okay? And, you know, I buy these brushes by they're like a pack of 20. And they come all different types of brushes in it. It's good to have for kind of things like this, or, you know, like to do, you know, not to do detail work, but to do like, you know, all different type of stuff and to mix or to whatever. And, you know, they're cheap and, you know, I think they're like 20 in a packet. It's like $7. I bought at Hobby Lobby, one of them, and just use those. Keep your good brushes for the good stuff that you're going to be doing, like detail work and things like that. But, you know, you save those. But, you know, like for this stuff like this, you know, get some shitty brushes for painting, you know, but doing other things and things like that, mixing paint or whatever, you know, there's a lot of different things you're going to be using it for. So make sure you have a stack of paint brushes like that too, just to have it aside. All right, so I'm happy with the way that came out right there. I'm happy where we're at right now. So we're gonna seal it again, and we're gonna move into pastels next. Okay. So, and I'll show you the pastels that I use. You can use any pastels you want, but the ones that I get good results of, I'll show you the brand that I use, the type that I use for this kind of work, and we'll go move on from there. Okay, very good. So we're gonna pause it now, and then I'll come back and I'll seal it, and we'll come back and we'll start with pastel. Okay, so we're gonna move on to pastels. Again, guys, if you guys have any better ideas, or you have better results with other things, don't be afraid to share it or mention something in the comment section. Okay, and I'd be more than happy to try it, here on the channel and stuff like that. Or if you find something else, please be it's way okay with you to share it with me. I'm here to learn just like you guys. So we're gonna try to do this all together. But I've been getting good results with this stuff. So I recommend to try it. And if you tried my method, don't be afraid to share it. So the pastels that I'm going to use are the pan pastels. Now these are not cheap. I'm going to be telling you this right now. They're a little expensive, but you can buy the sets. It's cheaper to buy it by the sets. And they have the flesh tone sets. They got a gray tone set, and then another one that mixes. And they got a real big one. Just start off small. Don't go crazy. I bought the flesh tone set, which is like seven of them. They come together, and then the one that I did add to it is. Be careful when you open these. You don't want to open them and spill this stuff will get everywhere, and you don't want to make a mess out of this stuff. Trust me when I tell you. The one that I use a lot is red iron oxide. I use that for a lot for the shading parts of this stuff. It's going to come out very strong. It's going to look like I don't know, somebody beat him up or whatever. But once you start putting all the other layers, it'll hide it, and you'll see the kind of effect it'll give it. But this is the one that I'm going to start with now. Is the red iron oxide. I'm going to start doing the shading in it. All right, and then after that we're gonna do a layer of just regular flesh, and then after that we're gonna work on the highlights. Okay, so we're getting there. So first one to go is red iron oxide from Pan Pastels. You can use any pastels out there that are out there. The only thing is, when you get those little block. Let me show you real quick if I have it. Right here. You can use these. I used these before. I use them for everything, for a lot of stuff actually. The pastels, I use them for shading, clothing, and other things like that. But you can use these. The only thing with these are small, see, and you can use the big ones if you want. Okay, there's a ton of different colors in here that you can use. What you do is with these is you grab them, a piece of paper, and you grab your X-Acto knife, and you just scrape real thin pieces. Scrape it really, really thin, and then grab the brush and mix it in, and then you do pastels with that. All right, it's a little more work. These already come where you could just use the brush and that's it. There you go. You're on your way. All right, but this stuff you got to scrape it onto a piece of paper. That's what works for me, and then use it and you brush it onto your kit. Okay. You can use any pastels out there. They all seem to work pretty good. And I used that one right there, and they worked all right. So let me get the red oxide out. This one has all browns and stuff like that. So red oxide is one of the if you're going to buy single ones, red oxide is one of the ones that I use a lot. Okay. Burnt sienna 2 is another one that I use quite a bit. And then if you use pastels, see this bunch right here, these bunch of brushes that I have here, I keep my pastel brushes separate from my regular brushes. And the reason why is because you don't want to mix brushes, because then the pigments from this stuff gets onto if you're going to use it for a regular painting, it's going to get onto your thing, it's going to change the color of your paints, and it's going to mess it up. So I use filbert brushes to blend. Okay, and then I use like a regular pointy brush. Small, since it's a small figure, I'm going to use real small ones. Okay, these are cheapo brushes. These are Fine Touch brand on this one. Same thing with this one. All right, you got a real small one. You got a medium one, and then the filbert brushes. Who makes this? Princeton makes this one. I like this one. I got quite a few of these. I use it for a lot of things. And like I said, you don't have to spend a lot of money on this stuff right there. And this is, I don't know, BS Small Mall. This one works pretty good. It was cheap. I bought a whole packet of different brushes, and this one came with it. I've been using that for a lot of stuff too. So I like to keep those here handy. I want to start off with the real small one to get into, and I'm going to show you what I do and how I do it. Okay, so as far as what the pastels go, so this is the red iron oxide, like I said, and what I do is, with this one, what we're going to do is we're going to do shadows. Okay, strictly shadows, the deep shadows, or the deeper shadows and stuff like that. That's what we're going to do with this. So we're going to, all you do is this, just like a regular paint, take the excess off a little bit. All right, get enough in there to, all right, to get it on the brush, you know. And you're gonna put it on, and you're gonna blend it in with your filbert brush. All right, so anywhere where you see a crease, a shadow, like underneath the eyes right here, okay, I go in here and I brush the pastel in there. Okay, underneath the nose, right there. Okay, let's get a little bit in there. All right, under the chin, under the lip, right there, the shadowy areas right there. Get that line right there. The creases of the nose, and the cheek. Okay. Same thing on the other side. Not too much, you know. I'm not going very heavy. Just if you're gonna blow, don't spit. Okay. All right. So underneath the hairline, where the skin and the hairline meets, I like to do that too. And he has hair that's his hair is creating shadows underneath the hairline. Okay. See how it comes over like that? So you want to get in there and throw a shadow in there with this. Okay. Same thing here on the side. He's got very long hair, a lot of hair coming in, and that's going to be the darker areas. It's going to be covered a little bit by the other piece of hair that goes over it. You can put it on and try it and see how it looks once you're done. All right, behind the ear, underneath here. Okay. Keep going. Keep following the hairline. Just get in there. You can probably do this stuff like once or twice. Sometimes after you're done painting, you're going to want to add a little bit more shadow, and that's okay too. Okay. Now here underneath the eye, like this part right here, I'm going to show you what other color I use there. All right. I actually use a different color for that. All right. So here. All right. Blow any excess out. But don't spit. Don't get your kit wet or the pastel wet. All right. You don't want to do that. This goes on dry. All right. Make sure your brushes are dry. You know, like I said, I keep my brushes separate because you don't want to mix it up with your regular paints. See, I go in the jawline. Just go in there. You don't want to get too much underneath. You know, you want to keep that more a little natural or whatever. But like any jawline right there, go right there. And you're gonna blend this stuff in with the brush, with the bigger brush, with the filbert. So if it looks like really weird right now, like very, see how it looks like very strong, then you're gonna blend all that stuff in. So don't worry about that. Underneath the other eye. And that's why I don't paint my, I don't paint the eyes yet or anything like that. The eyes I do it last. All right. Because you know, you get this stuff on there, it's gonna stain it. You're gonna get mad. You can always cover if you do the eyes first. You can, but then you're gonna have to mask it. You know, sometimes masking is a pain in the ass for me. So, you know, so I'd rather just do it this way, where I just do it at the end. I start off with a painted eyeballs black anyway. You know, so right there. Silly putty out of the way. Alright. Get some in there in the back of the hair, back of the neck. Exposed to the sun, so this stuff will give it like a nice little tint to it for like suntan a little bit maybe. Alright. And your neck gets exposed, and usually your neck has got a little more tan than the rest of the. Okay. It's got a little line on the chin. You want to accentuate that. Okay, there you go. And then I do the ears and the earlobes, like, you know, the creases and stuff like that. Okay, so get some of that color. Gets inside the ear. Give it a shade in there, a little darker. Check out the other one. See the creases in the ear? I go in there with the brush. Go inside the ear. See the outer ear is exposed a little bit. And then like little creases on the side of the eyes. Just a little bit. Anywhere you see creases, you want to put a shadow in. Because that's all you're doing. You're putting shadows in. It's easier than doing it in a brush or paint. Just gotta do a lot of blending and a lot of glazing. This stuff right here works like magic. It's a little shortcut maybe, but it works. You know, Matt Morozic was the first one that that I learned to do this. But there's a young lady out there. Let me see if I can find her. Let's give you the name.
Scott has.
She's Russian. She's but she lives here in the States. Her name is Anya Shetinina. All right, look her up. She has her own. I don't know about YouTube channel, but I think she's on Instagram or something, and she does some really good work with pastels and, you know, stuff like that. And, you know, I want to give her credit because she does do very good work doing stuff. So I'm putting a little bit of shade, like the little creases on the neck and things like that. Okay, so that's looking good right there. I'm almost happy with that. Alright, so let's put a little shadow, like right underneath the earlobe. Like, I know this it's going to look very strong to you guys and stuff like that, so don't be afraid, because you're gonna paint, put a bunch of layers over this stuff, and it's gonna hide a lot of it. So don't worry about that. Okay, this putty's gonna drive me a little crazy right now. All right, so that's good right there. All right, I'll wipe this off. I'll show you. I want to get the filbert brush, and I want to blend this stuff in. All right, so a lot of it's gonna come out now. So you can always go back and put a little more if you feel like you need to put more. That's okay. I brush it off on my hand. Okay, just blend it. Just blend it in there. I'm being a little bit rough. A little rough. Not too rough, but a little bit rough. Okay. You don't want to get rid of all of it. You want to make sure you leave some in there. All right. I'm doing that now because I always forget that to go back in there and blend it. I got to go back in there later after I see it. All right. Hairline, ear, hairline. Should wipe the excess off on your finger. You can do it on the paper. All right. Keep going. Keep going there. All right. Now this pastel's not hiding too much of the work that you did before either. You can still see it very well pronounced. Okay. So I'll put some over here. I want to put some on right there. Bridge in the nose. Okay. I should get that on there. Okay, so I'm happy with where we're at right now with that. Okay, not too much. Okay, it might look a little red to you right now, which is okay. Okay. Now, like I said before, you might be coming back and doing some more of that later on. Okay, make sure you cover this if you're going to spray paint or anything, because you want to get that wet. Alright, so I'm happy with that where it is. So I'm going to show you what else I do with another color pastel. Okay, that's not where we're gonna end either. We're gonna keep on going. Got more to do with pastels a little bit later, but maybe. It depends how everything comes out. Let me see what I have here. Where's the other? Here it is. Alright. So for underneath the eyes, I like to use purple. The color that I'm using is Magenta Extra Dark. Okay. I got a light purple. And if it breaks up like that, don't worry about it. You can still use that. There's nothing wrong with it. Alright. And then I got the darker one, which is the one I'm going to use. And what that does is gives you like that, you know, the darkness underneath the eyes. And you get that, you know, bluish purple, you know, from being tired, or, you know. See, that stuff gets everywhere. You gotta be careful with it. Alright. You know, when you get the little darkness underneath the eyes and stuff, so I like to do is get the purple out here. Make sure I got everything out. This is very strong stuff, so don't go too crazy with this color. Alright. And you get underneath that right there. There you go. Look at that shadow. Blow off any excess out there. There you go. Alright. Same thing with this one. Nice dark. Go in, and then, you know, you kind of like blend a little bit, thin it down a little bit, you know, get it right there. There's a little crease right here, just get it right there, you know, so this way it gives you a little bit more. There you go. That looks good. Okay, a little bit of that. Got a little bit of the eyes. Okay, we're gonna paint that later on anyway, so. Not too much. You can always go, like I said, you can always go back later and enhance that if you need to. All right, because if you're gonna, once you start spraying, overspraying, you're probably gonna cover up a lot of it, and you're gonna want to probably enhance some of the shadows, or gonna want to enhance that, or, you know, whatever, you know, depending on what kind of effect you want for your character. And go from there. Now you can seal this now, or you can just spray paint and then seal it. All right, because you're gonna spray paint. Just giving an overspray. You're not gonna be going crazy and putting like a whole, you know, just a big overspray of your base color. The base color. Don't forget, we went with this color, Tan Flesh from Pro Acryl, Monuments Hobby. All right, good stuff. You're gonna overspray. And what you're gonna do, you're gonna overspray the whole figure and give it a. You're gonna give it just try to blend everything all together. That's what you're doing now. All right. Let me pause this and let me go seal it. And the sealer, don't forget that the sealer that we're using for once you do pastels, you're gonna want to use the Bear. This is a Bear chalk decorative paint, matte clear. All right. This is the stuff that you want to use because it doesn't. Right now, your pastels are hot, right? They're in there, and the colors are very pungent right now. So this will tone it down a little bit, and then when you overspray, it'll tone it down even more. Okay, so that's what you want to do. So you can seal it now. That's fine. You know, you can overspray it now, or you can seal it. You know, I've done it both ways and got the same results. But if you want to protect it, which I do, just in case I mess up, and I don't want to. While I'm taping, I don't want to. Mix that a little bit in there. While I'm filming, I don't want to mess up and having to start over again. So let me go seal it. I'll come back and then we'll continue. Okay. So let me go seal it real quick, and I'll be right back. Okay. One thing with that Bear sealer, it does, it says matte, but it actually leaves you a little bit of a gloss. Okay, you can see that. Don't worry about that because you're gonna mat it down with the other sealer, the Krylon. You'll mat that down quite a bit. Plus all the layers you're gonna put in. So don't worry about it if it's too shiny. Okay, because that'll go away. Unless you're looking for like a sweat look, then that's fine. You know, you could go with something like that. But so right now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna overspray. Okay, with your base color. Tan flesh, that's the one that we started with, or whichever one you started with, use that color. Okay, so we're gonna do that. All right. Let me get my mixer. So I'm gonna have to thin this paint down a little bit more because. Alright, let me put a little thinner in here. Alright, so if you're gonna mix it up, go from the first step that we had and thin it out, thin your paint down, get it ready to go. Then I'm gonna have to go and do this all over again over here because I think I've been sitting for a while. And I don't know if it's dried up in there or not, but let me get in here and clean this up a little bit. Before, if you get a dry tip on your airbrush, what I like to do is I like to keep a little bit of this is what I use for same thing. Go to Red Dragon Model Works. He's going to teach you how to make. He calls it Jesus Juice, but go in there and check his YouTube channel out. He'll teach you how to make airbrush cleaner cheap. Okay, like I said before, this stuff if you're going to buy the name brands, it's expensive, and you're going to go through it. I go through like that. If I use the airbrush a lot, I have to make a new one like every other week or whatever. But that's me using the airbrush a whole bunch. But if you're not heavy on the airbrush, right, and what I do is I go in there and I just rub this on the tip, make sure the tip is clean. Get a dry tip, just keep that there. And let's make sure. Let's see if this paint's gonna come out. There you go. All right. 18 psi, and I go from far away, guys. Okay, I go from about. I don't know, I'm about 1.5 feet away. And I don't want to go too close because I don't want to get rid of all the work that we just did. So you want to put thin layer, very thin layer, okay? Let me thin this out a little bit more. You want to get a thin layer, thinner than what you originally went with. Just put a few more drops of thinner in there, okay? And you want to go from far away. Now you don't want to soak it either because then you're going to get run on your paint. And you don't want to do that, okay? You're going to want to get a good get a nice coating on this, and it's going to blend a lot of the stuff. And don't forget that we still have to do more blending and highlights and shadows. I'm going to go in with another little bit of shadow in different areas. And then, like I said, those pastels, you might have to do them over again, okay? All right, because if you want to get more of, you want those shadows to be a little more pronounced, you're going to have to go in there and probably do it again. But that's not a big deal. You just go in there and you do it again and do the same steps. Repeat it, and then go until you're happy with it. Okay, but let's try this right now. I'm going to go about 1.5 feet. And I'm not going to go, with just give it little sprays here and there. And see where you got, and then we'll try it. Let's see what we get out of it. I'm not that close. I'm just like spraying from far away. You just want to blend all that together now, okay? All right. And all I'm doing this action right here. Okay, I'm a little close now. I don't want to do it, but this is what I'm doing. Or I'm going like this, very gently, and I'm spraying, and I'm not holding that thing down. I'm just going, just like that. And I'm not pulling the trigger all the way back, and I'm just giving it just a light spray just over it. and just blending those colors together, okay? So let's keep on doing that until you're happy with it. Don't want to go too much. Just blend those colors in a little bit, okay? There you go. That's looking better right there. Alright. Go on this side a little bit. There you go. Just angle it. Angle it the way you want it. You know, go where you want to go. Don't be afraid to turn the model around. You hit those spots. See how it's blending a little better now? Right, you still got some of the detail in there. Okay, then we did. We're gonna keep on working on that. Alright. Now what I'm gonna do now is I think what I want to do now is go in with a little bit more. I think I want to go in with a little more pastels in there. Just a couple spots, and I'll show you what I mean. All right. Just let me. Some spots need a little bit more paint, and some spots it doesn't. All right, like around the side of the cheek, right there. Okay. And I like that right there. That looks good right there. That looks good right there. Alright. I like that. See, I didn't go too much, too hard. Very soft from far away. You know, you hit it. Just blend those colors together. And see, that red oxide is not as pungent anymore, right? Okay. So I'm going to take a picture of this. This way you guys can see better. I'm going to put it alongside the video. So this way you get a little close up, because I got shitty focus on this thing, man. And the lighting and everything is just not helping. But you'll see what I'm doing. I'll put pictures that I've been taking pictures as we go along, and I like the results so far. This is looking really good right now for the base. This is going to be like a really good base right there. You got all your little details and your little dots and everything. They're still there. We're going to keep on putting layers. Some more of that stuff is going to get hidden. It's not going to be for the camera. Naked eye, you can see it really good, but for the camera, you won't be able to see it. But we're getting there. You'll see. Just once you start doing it, you'll see the results. But don't be afraid if they're sticking. You still got stuff sticking out, because more and more of that stuff is going to be blended in all together, and you're going to see the nice results that you're going to get out of that. All right. So that's what's coming out right now, man. This is looking good. All right. So I'm going to pause it. I'm going to seal it with the regular sealer now. Okay? With the Krylon. I'm going to stay there, seal it, come back, and I'm going to do a little bit more pastel work, and then we're going to go into shadows and highlights. Okay? And we're getting there. We're getting there. This guy's getting there. Hopefully we'll be done soon. All right? So here we go. Okay, so I took a little break. I'm back. So, like I said before, I wanna hit a couple of spots with the. I feel like once we start doing these other layers, I'm gonna hide some of these shadows and stuff like that. So I want to go over just a couple spots. This is up to you. You do what you feel like. If you're looking at your model and you think you're good enough, then by means, just go with it. You know what I'm saying? Don't think twice about it. Just do it. This is about practicing, method. And, there's different methods of doing this. I'm just showing you the way I do it. But if you feel like, you're looking at your model and you feel like you have what you need as far as shadows with the red oxide, you want to use this method, then go for it. You know what I'm saying? Just go and just keep on moving on to the next part. But here I want to add a little bit of more shadow to a couple spots, just underneath the lip. Okay, I just want to go a little bit stronger on that. chin. Little, okay, because I think I covered it up a little bit too much when I painted over it, but you know, it's okay. Right there underneath that. I think that's good enough right there by the nose. Alright. And then the hairline I was looking at before. And I just wanted to do a little bit more because when you do the oh, I lost the other hair. That's alright. I'm not gonna put it on, but where the hell did I put it? I have no idea. So what happens when you got a ton of crap everywhere and you can't find something that you're looking for. Oh boy. Alright. It is what it is. Oh, here it is. You put his hair in. So a piece. Backwards? I think I do. No. There we go. Like, a lot of this stuff you're not going to be able to see it, but this you will. So I think I want to go a little more with shadow on the hair on here, and then just a little bit more on this side right here. Alright. So something. The reason why is because the way we're going to highlight later and things like that is probably going to hide a lot of it. So I just wanted to do a little bit more now before we move on. And I want to see what kind of results I get out of that. Okay. So, but like I said, you know, if you guys feel like you feel comfortable with it, I know this is sometimes a little scary because this stuff goes on pretty strong. And when I first did, I was like, oh my God, what is this? What did I do? So now I'm gonna leave that right there. I'm not gonna put nothing there because I'm gonna go in with a shadow color, lay a little bit. And I was like, what did I do? And I was like, oh my God, this looks so hard. But then I started following the tips and tricks that like Matt Morozic did, and Vince Vale Customs does. He does, they'll use pastels or makeup or things like that, and the methods are kind of similar, and then you see the results that you get out of it, and you're like, wow, all right, so it works. What I want to do too, I want to put some in the crease of the lip and around the cross. So I want to leave darker. And this way you get a little more better separation between both lips. Okay. Put a little bit of that in there. Just give it a little shadow in there between them. Okay. I think I'm happy with that right there. Alright. Get a little more right there. So you're going to get your filbert brush, and you're going to go over get the ears a little bit. Okay. Right there. Right there. Matt Morozic, when he does it, he's been doing it for a long time. He does a lot of work, a lot of repaints, a lot of commissions. The dude is very good at what he does. Look him up on Facebook. He posts stuff on Facebook all the time. I'm always looking at the work that he does, and it amazes me. He just tries a lot of different mediums too. He did some work with oils. Came out really, really good. Garage Kids paints. Both of those guys, they use them. I use garage. I got a couple. I got a little collection of garage paints. These right here. Let me show you real quick. Okay. These are very light. I use them once in a while, but like I said, I started using that Natorna set, and I really like. It's very easy to use, and the results that you get from that all the time is pretty, pretty good, pretty consistent. can use it for all different, you know, that little set right there, man, which is pretty cool. This is one of the best sets that I think Vallejo has made. The only thing is, if you use one color too much, you got to buy a whole set again because they don't sell those separate, which I think is kind of bull. I hopefully soon they'll be selling them separately, so this way you don't have to buy the whole set and you got too much of one color and not enough of the other. You know what I mean? So there you go. Blending a little bit more, and I want to put a little more purple underneath the eyes. So let's do that. Okay. Where is it? Here we go. Close this up. Brown and purple. Just a little bit more, not too much, because it has some in there, but I'm afraid that once you see the next steps how we do it, I'm afraid it's going to hide a little bit too much of it, and I don't want to go and do this after we're done with all the layering and stuff, because I think it's just going to look too strong if we do it at the end. You know what I mean? And unless you want to give him like a Rocky look where he just got his butt kicked or whatever, you know. I don't think that'll be too good. So let's just put some more, go a little bit stronger on it, just a little bit, and then we'll blend it out. And hopefully, when we get done blending all the other colors, it's gonna show. Doesn't have to show like a whole lot, just a little bit. You know, you don't want to go too crazy. You want to make them look too overtired or. Stuff like that. Where's my filbert? There we go. Alright, so with your filbert brush, make sure you clean it, wipe it on your hand. You can just go in there. Okay, just blend that. And just blend that. Give it like a nice little. Okay. See the purple in there. It's just too bright. Alright, so I'll blend that. Alright. Okay, happy with that. A little bit happier with that. Okay, so again, you gotta seal it. It's a pain in the ass, but just do it, Don't be lazy about it. Just go and do it, because this way, if anything happens, you're not gonna mess up, and you can mess up all that work that you did, and then you're gonna have to start all over again. You want to do that. So seal it, come back, and then we'll start doing shadows and highlights. Okay. How to do that. Okay, so we're gonna do. I just cleaned my airbrush. So I'm ready to go for the next phase. So the next step is to do the shadows and the highlights. Okay. And for the shadow, we're going to use, where is it? I'm going to start using these Nocturnus series paints. Remember, I got the two sets. I got the Fairy Flesh and the Malefic Flesh set. Okay, so for the shadow, what you want to do is you want to go a hint darker than this. And I don't want to go with the other, I can't find it. What the hell do I do with it? I don't want to go with the other Acryl color because I think it might be a little bit too dark, and I don't want to do that. Okay, I don't want to go this between these two. I don't want to go too dark on that. So what I want to do is I want to either use the Natural Flesh from Nocturnus series, or this one's too dark. The Fairy Flesh set, which is like a little bit in between those two colors. Okay. I think that this is too strong for what I want, because I want to highlight with either the Pale Flesh, the White Flesh, or the highlight skin. Okay, so first I want to do the shadows. I'm going to show you Yeah, I think I want to go with the fairy flesh for the shadow. But that does look a little pinky. I think I'm just, let's do natural flesh, guys. All right, for the shadow. All right, so let's do that. Let's not beat around the bush. Let's just do it. Mix it very well. You gotta shake these puppies. I shake them. You know, I got a shaker and I shake them with that quite often. But these need to be thin. These are going to come out thick, so they need to be thinned down. Like I said, you want the paint to be like kind of like a milk consistency. So what you want to do is thin it down pretty good. Start off small. Do 2 drops, and go from there. And start working your way up, and add thinner as you need it. You're not going to need a lot of paint, so just go with 2 drops because you don't need to go. You need the whole. You're going to be wasting paint that way. So don't forget, put a couple of drops of airflow improver in it, and what it does, it lubricates the needle a little bit. Okay, 1, 2. Just put 2 drops. That's it. Okay, and then you get thinner. I start off by putting like maybe 1, 2, 3, 4 drops in there. And if I need it thinner more, I put more in there. Okay. Have your crappy brush to mix ready to go. Okay. And I'm going to start off by putting, see how thick it comes out? 1, 2. That's it. Get rid of that little spare one right there. It was coming out. So it's kind of thick. So start mixing. You don't want it. You don't want to waste too much paint. That's the whole, stuff is expensive, dude. So you don't want to go in there and start, just mixing. This cup is very small, okay, compared to something like this that I use for my primers. All right, look at the size of that cup compared to this one. Okay, so you don't want to go too crazy. Just start off with a couple drops alongside of the cup. See how it's coming down. It's coming down, but not too fast and not too slow. That's like the consistency of milk. It's just leaving like a little bit of color behind as it comes down, and that's the way you want it. Okay. You don't want it too thin, too thin, because then it's going to start running on you. So you don't want to do that either, because then you're going to mess up. So the shadows, the way you're going to do that is just make sure you get a good flow out of the airbrush. 18 pounds of pressure. The shadows is going to be underneath. All right, so you're going to tip your figure over your head. Okay, and what you're going to do is you're going to hit it from underneath. Okay, all underneath that, and you want to hit the shadow colors. You're not going to go again far away, not too close, and this is going to land underneath the cheek, the chin. I'm sorry, underneath the nose bridge, underneath the brow. Okay, it's going to underneath the cheek line and stuff like that. You want to create shadows now. Very, very slowly. You're going to do this, okay? Like you did before to lay down. Some areas you're going to have to hit it a little bit harder. Okay, but just see how very slowly, from far away I'm doing this. Not exactly like that, but kind of like in a little bit of an angle, okay? So this way you catch all those different shadow areas that you need to catch, okay? There you go. And that's going to create a natural shadow on your figure. The light source is going to be from the top, okay, from this angle right here. Okay, so it's just going to create shadows underneath, okay? So that's what you're looking for. All right? Just like that, right? Just creating different variations of tones and colors in there right now, okay? So right now it looks kind of ugly, but it's going to look better once you get everything else done. Still going to do a little more pastel works And I'll show you how to do that with the highlights with the skin tones. Okay? Maybe. We'll see where this comes out. Sometimes you don't need it. That's looking good. Alright? Okay. Like that. Okay. Now you're going to do your highlights. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pause it, seal it, clean my airbrush. See, I didn't use the whole. Still got a lot of paint left in there. Okay. If you were doing a full figure, you got different arms, legs, you know, whatever. Skin, you know, the rest of the skin, you're going to be doing this. You're going to be using this whole cup right here. But I'm just doing head. So I'm wasting all that. Okay. Right. You want to try to save money. You don't want to overdo it. So it's like just use a couple drops, you know. And just make sure that you are happy with what you see there. Okay, I am. Okay, you can always come back and do it again. Once you do your highlights, if you want to put a little more shadow, you want to go a little bit darker than that, that's fine too. You can always put a drop of the darkest color, like a darker color that you have. Like this is like a reddish tone. You can use this. Okay, just put a drop in there, mix it, and get a little bit of darker color if you have to. Okay. And like I said, you have that. Get a little bit more here. That's a little too pronounced right there. But like I said, you're still going to be adding more paint. You still got to do the highlights. There you go. And I can still see the skin bit. All the work that we did before, I can still see some of it. Okay? That's looking good right there. And I'm going to take a picture of that, clean my airbrush, and seal it and all that. And then we'll keep on going. Okay? So, pause it. Be right back. Okay, so let's do the highlights. Okay. And the color we're going to use now is the Highlight Skin from the Nocturna series. Alright. So same thing as before. Like you're going to mix the paint. A couple of drops of the flow improver. Put a little bit of paint thinner. Get your mixing brush ready to go. Clean that. Mix your paint. So, I'm going to highlight. Okay. 1, 2 drops, that's it. Let's not go crazy. Mix it up. See what you got. This stuff is almost like a white. Look at that. It's not. And again, you're going to go from far away, but this time instead of going underneath, like you did with the shadows, you're going to go from the top, where your light source is coming from. Okay? Make sure. That's not too bad. But like consistency of milk. Remember that. See when you push it, I don't know if you guys can see that, but when you push it up to the side, see how it comes down? It's like milk. Okay? Alright, so clean that off a little bit. Save it again. Good. Alright. Again, before you went like this from underneath, now you're gonna go from the top, from your light source. So the sun, let's say, is coming up from an angle like this. So you want to highlight everything that's going to be sticking out, like his nose bridge, the top of his lip, the chin, the cheeks. Okay, this part of the cheekbone, the forehead, part of the neck. All right, is going to be all highlighted. So the way you're going to do that is going to go from the top, okay, and you're going to hit it like same thing as you do before. Just hit it a little bit at a time, and don't go too close, okay, and just did it from far away. You hear the airbrush? Spin it as you go. Up and down, side to side. So all that stuff that you did before still shows a little bit, but now it's getting more and more covered. Alright? Remember that he's Caucasian, white, so he's pretty fair skin. Okay? I'm liking where that goes. If it comes out too white, I have a little trick that I can show you how to fix that real quick. But as far as right now, I'm really liking where that is right now. Alright. So this is some of the shadows and stuff. See how it's lighter? You turn it like this, it's darker. And what you want to look is looking forward. What do you see? All right. Sorry about that. I had to pause it for a minute. All right. So I like where we're at with this. I think I want to. Looking at this, let's get a little pink into it. Okay. I'll take a picture of this the way it is now, so we have an idea what it looks like, how it came out. Okay. And okay. You gotta work that tone. All right. I like it, but I think it needs a little bit of tone. I'm going to show you how to do that real quick with one different pink color that I have, and just to give it a little bit of tone. I think if I could get the right color in there now this last time, I think we're there as far as the skin tone goes. Okay. If I have to go back in a little bit and touch up a little bit past up, but there's 2 more steps. If I get the right one, there's 2 more steps, and that's it. Okay, so let me pause this real quick, and then I want to clean this airbrush and change paints and seal it. All right, so right now he looked. I just sealed it. It's looking like a little palish to me. I don't know. It's just like I feel like it needs a little tone. Okay. So what I think that I like to do is, if I feel like it came out too bright, or I can still go, I still need to do a little more highlights. But just because you do highlights, it doesn't mean that you want to make the face look like it's I don't know, like it doesn't have enough tone or something. So one thing that I do like to do is these garage kits, they're transparent. So I got the transparent bright flesh from Garage Kits. Okay. Okay, the number is $4.91. I got a bunch of this stuff, but what I like to do sometimes is just a quick overspray. And what this does is gives it like a little bit more of a tone in the blend to everything. Now, you don't want to overdo it with this. You got to be real careful how much you overspray with this. Now this is the light one. There's another regular one, but this is just like it tones the flesh, and you don't want to go overdo it, because then it's going to look like it's got too much of a suntan. Okay, so but I just want to give him a little bit of a tone not from just the from the front, but more from the bottom. Okay, not Not too shadowy, but a little bit. So let's see what comes out. You know, we're gonna try this. All right. So for the garage kit, I gotta mix some more alcohol in here. Um, in this mixture for the thinner, and like I said, this stuff is really thin. So I'm just gonna put 2 drops of that. 1, 2. That's it. I'm not gonna go crazy with it. And then I'm gonna mix it. This stuff is very strong. I'm going to go a little lighter with it. Let's see. See what it looks on paper. I'm going to show you. It might come out like a little, you know, see how reddish it comes out. Okay, so you see, I don't know if you can see that or not. You see the difference in the color right there? That's your regular flesh. And that's what I just sprayed right there. It gives like a little bit of a reddish color. So you don't want to go too crazy. Okay? You're going to go from far away. And just give it a couple of quick passes and that's it. Okay? And check it. That's what it was missing. I like that a lot better right there. Okay. A little bit of the top. And I'm pretty far away, guys, when I did that. Alright, so like I said, don't go too crazy. Alright. I like that where it's at. Just take a look at it. Okay. That's it for that right there. Alright, so I'm going to pause this. I'm going to seal him. And I want to take a picture of it. Alright, that's where we're at with him right now. Okay. That's just a quick little toner that I gave him. Just to give him a little toner. I'll take a picture so you get a better closer look at it. Alright, so pause, clean brush, seal again. Alright, so real quick, I thought I unpaused the video before and I didn't. And I don't want you to miss out on this step. After I oversprayed it, I thought that it just needed a little bit more warmth to it, or not too dark, but not too bright as far as highlight goes, just in the middle. So like I did before, I mixed just 2 drops of paint in the airbrush real quick, and I just give it a quick overspray, like 4 times, twice sideways and twice up and down, and that was it from far away. With the this one, the fairy flesh. Okay, it has a little bit of a pink tone to it, and what that did, it just really blended everything all together really nice. Okay. I want you to miss out on that step, and I apologize for messing that up. But you know, I thought I paused it, but I didn't. And what it did, it really give it a nice tone and everything. So I think we're there. That's it. And I apologize. I didn't pause that video, but it was silly. But just like I did before, guys, I just put 2 drops of paint in there, and I just mixed it. I mixed it in the cup, and quickly just that's it. You know, at the consistency of milk, that was it. And I just, you know, just a couple sprays, that's it. You know, just, and if you feel like before that step that you're there and that was it, you don't need it, that's fine. But that's what I did. All right, just take a look on the different sources of light and see what you see on your figure, because you know, remember that right now I got the lights here muted a little bit because I don't want too much glow going back to you. All right, I'm just trying to figure all this stuff out, how to work it. Hopefully things will get better down as we go, and hopefully you're going to learn something out of this too. I don't want you, so that's why I'm going to put pictures up along with every time I finish something. I'm taking a picture, and I'll put a picture up, you know, when I edit the video, and hopefully you guys will be able to see that. I'm really happy where it's at right now, so I'm going to leave it alone. I'm going to overspray. I just finished this. I'm going to go and overspray with the matte varnish, and we'll come back, and I'm going to put a little bit of this muted pink to like the cheekbones, the nose, and the lips. All right, just give it a little bit more natural look, like a little blood flow inside those areas. Okay, and then if I feel like the lips need a little bit more pink to it, we'll do some of that too. I'll show you how to do that. But this is Lucatex acrylic inks. Okay, and we're gonna glaze this in. Okay, so I'm gonna show you how to do that. Let me go seal it. I'll come back and we'll go do that. Okay, so it's sealed, ready to go. Let's put a little bit of color in those cheeks, lips, and nose. The tip of the nose, underneath the bridge of the nose and stuff like that. So let's mix this color up really good. Muted pink. All right, by Liquitex. I'm just gonna put a couple drops in here. Okay. I don't want to get this stuff mixed up over here. Well, I'm going to use the glazed medium from Vallejo. Okay. Okay. Glazed medium by Vallejo. Okay. I'm just going to start off with like one drop and mix it. Okay. And then let's just mix it really good. See, I'm using the back end of my brush again. An old beat up brush. Just the old brush that I used to do all this kind of stuff. Alright. Now that'll separate a little bit, but then you gotta mix it again. And then what I use is, you can use. I got a bunch of fine brushes here because I want to paint the inside of the eyes too. Start off with that, and so I want to get a nice brush to mix those colors in. And what you're gonna do is you're gonna dab, you're gonna glaze, you're gonna go a little bit, maybe get some of it off, okay, and do layers and layers and layers of it until you get to the point where you don't want to just put a ton of paint on it and just that's it. Very glazed, you're going to put very thin layers on there, alright? So I'm going to also put a drop of medium on the side here, just in case if I need it, just to add it. I already sealed this, so if I mess up, just grab a little bit of the airbrush cleaner, and just with a little dab of on a cotton swab, you just clean it off and then start all over again if you have to. But you don't want to go too much. You want to go just a little bit. I want to put a little bit here on the cheekbones, right here. Just give it a little bit of color, a little bit of difference of color, and then do a little bit on the nose right down here, okay? And then do the lips, okay? And then if the lips, you don't want the lips to come out purple because they're not purple, too purple. But if you have to put a little pink on there, you can afterwards, okay? So, okay, so let's start doing that. I think I'm going to need a little bit. Let me with this a little bit here. Alright. Just very thin, not a lot on your brush. Okay, make sure you have your filbert brush to blend in and just take out if you have to. Okay, so very thin layers, keep this still here, I don't need too much. Very thin layers. Put it on there. See, it's not really sticking all that well, so just get in there and just blend it in. Just a little bit. You don't have to go crazy. Just want to give it a little bit of color. That's all you want to do. That's it. I don't want to go too far out, too far in, just the height of the cheekbone. That's all I want to do. Just glaze it in there. Okay. That might be it right there. Right? Get that moist a little bit. Get the color. You don't want to do it too dry either. Not too wet, not too dry. Just a little bit. So you can mix in and it blends a little better. Get a nice blend, you don't get the pink streaks or anything like that, okay? Just dab it. Same thing with the nose, okay? You're gonna dab it in there. Not too much paint. Get it off on your finger. Paint your finger a little bit. Okay, get in there. There we go. Alright. Just give a little bit of difference of color right there. Just a little bit. Not too crazy. Alright. That's right. Don't forget that he was probably like just in battle or, you know, hiking with all his armor on, sweating. Stuff like that, so you want to maybe try to portray that a little bit, you know? Get a little color in there, a little difference of color. Doesn't look all. Alright, again. Just a little bit. Down on top of the cheek. Difference of color right there. And you want to put a little bit, not on the inside of the crease, but over the crease a little bit. Just draw a line right there. Blend it in. That's it. Same thing here. Top of the crease. Blend it in. There you go. Gives a little nice variation right there, which is really nice. So with the nose, I want to put a little bit more in the nose. I can use that a little bit. A little bit. Get a lot of that paint out. Alright. I'm using a very small tip of the brush is like I'm using the side of the brush pretty much. I'm not using the tip. Alright. So just use the side of the brush. Blend it in. Take all the excess out, blend it in. There you go. I like that right there. That's perfect. Alright. Perfect. Yeah, that makes a difference right there. You might not see it, but it's very subtle, little touch that you're doing there, okay? You can use the same color if you want to heighten underneath the eyes. Just same thing. You think you know that, you know, or used the purple before? I see it. I think I want to go a little bit darker, but you know, you're just glazing. It's putting out a very, very fine layer of paint, then you blending it in with the brush with the filbert. It's a little damp, not dry, but a little damp. I'm just blending it in so this way it doesn't show any streaks or anything like that. And there you go. That's it. That's all I want to do. Maybe right here. Okay, so let me do the lips. Alright. So the lips, the side of the brush, not the tip, just the side of the brush. Put in a little bit of color. And glaze it in there. See? See what I just did? If you're having a hard time doing the top, turn it upside down. Alright, you don't want to go over the lip line. Okay? That's it. Right there. Just put a little bit of color. Just glaze it in there. Beautiful right there. Alright? Usually the bottom lip is going to be a little bit darker than the upper lip. So you want to add another layer to the bottom lip. You can always add a little pink later on. But if you glaze it, if you're going to glaze it on there, you're not going to need to do it again. Okay? Now Gilbert from Red Dragon Model Works, he uses this for the same, almost the same reason. He uses it for a lot of things. But for the lips, that's where I learned it from. I learned it from him. Alright, one of his videos, and we were chatting about it the other day, and he brought it up again. So I want to give the man, the legend, some credit. Alright, I got a little dab there that I need to get rid of. Right there in the corner, right there. Alright. this gives it that, like, the little extra blood effect on the skin, you know, like you get the rush of blood in your skin, your nose, your cheekbone, you know. So put a little glaze in that. Mix it up, and then get in there. Get a little bit more, just a little bit more. Yeah, this is the last layer right there. Just get a difference in color. You want to give him like a lipstick, because the dude is a warrior. Alright, there you go. Alright, let me see if I can show you that. That's what he's looking like. Once you get the hair color in, everything else, the eyes, and if you need to go in there and do a little highlighting or anything else like that, you do it. But I'm really happy where it's at right now. Okay. I like the flesh tone, the way it came out. I'll take a picture of that for you guys. I'll let this dry for a little bit, and then we'll come back and I'll paint the eyes. Okay? I'll paint the eyeballs. Maybe. I'll go do a water slides and put a water slides sticker on for the eyeballs. It's not cheating. Well, yeah, it is. But you know, I've seen a lot of other people do it who have experience, and they're not ashamed to say it to me either. You know, you could put a decal for eyeballs, and they look real. You know, it's just, you know, I might end up doing that because his eyes are kind of small, and for me to get it in there and give it all the different, the iris and everything is going to be a little hard for me. So I might end up going with a decal in there, but we'll see. We'll see. We'll see how everything goes. Alright, so let me pause this, and then I'm going to go and seal it, and then I'll meet you back over here. Okay, so if you're hearing the air conditioner, I'm sorry, but it's getting pretty hot now. I'm on the 4th floor. So I got my exercise in today too, going up and down outside, spraying and stuff. But I was gonna say, yeah, if you're hearing that background noise, I apologize. You know, I'm trying to do the best I can as far as, you know, let me bring this up a little closer. This is coming out really good. I'm really happy the way this is coming out. Hope your results are just the same, you know, because I'm really happy the way it looks. You know, so now I'm going to paint in the eyes black, the eyeball, and I'm going to have to get a little closer to this. So I'm probably not going to be able to get it in camera. I'm going to try the best I can, but I'm going to use a number 1 brush, a nice pointy brush that I have. This is a, you know, any pointy brush that you have. You know, I got this cheapy one here that's got a really good point on it. You can use something like that. Okay. Or I had this, I just spent some money on this Artist Opus and I want to try it. I've never tried it before. It's a number 1 brush from the S series. And what I do is I put a little bit of flow improver into the paint. It's the black paint. You saw me right there. Put a couple drops in there. I'm going to mix it in. I'm going to put some on the side just in case if I need it. Right there. Okay. Right on top. And then my trusty old mixing brush. Back of it. Mix it in really good. Because you don't want to get it chalky, or, you know, and just don't go over, when you're painting with the brush, don't go over too many. Let it dry before you go over it again. Because all you're going to do is just going to take that pigment away as you keep on going over the same spot over and over again. Alright, so the trick is you put the layer in, let it dry, and then go, you know, go concentrate on the other eyeball, and then do it again on the other side if you have to. Okay? So what the flow proof does, it just makes it smoother to brush. Okay? So let's And you don't want to go too thick on it. You don't want to go too cakey on it. All right, so, ooh, this is nice. That was like really thin. You can use that for the eyebrows too. All right, because you got to get in there. You know, my eyesight. Hold on a second. Hold on a second. I'll take my glass. I wear glasses, so. But that doesn't seem like it's going to be good enough right now. So hold on a sec. What is it? I'm going to use these puppies. I'm getting it nice and close because I'm blind. So there we go. Let me see if I can get close enough over here with this and magnify. There we go. All right. The thing is this is like, if you look away from what you're looking at, it kind of messes you up, man. All right, so you want to get in there, just do the eyeball. All right. Start off, let it dry a little bit. Turn it around. Don't put too much paint. You want to get too cakey in there. Just gotta get in there nice and thin. There we go. Get the ends over there. Okay. Come back around. Turn it. Get it comfortable. Like I got my arms on the bench. Okay? So you get more little stabilized. Okay. Clean that brush a little bit. Then you'll grab paint. Put it in there. Release some of the extra paint. There we go. Okay. It's gonna look real freaky right now, but be careful, you want to go outside of the lines and everything. It's going to imitate the eyelashes too, a little bit, because you want to leave some of the black in there when you do the white of the eyes, which is not going. We're not going to use white. We're going to use like an off-white or a gray, very light gray. You don't want it, if you use white, it's going to look like a big old Popeye, and it's going to stick out like a sore thumb. You don't want to do that. So you're going to want to use like a nice muted color, like a light gray or an off-white. All right, and there you go. Okay. So you're going to let that dry. You're going to spray it when you're done, when it's dry. It's too much paint. Way too much paint. Okay. There we go. So that's why I like to use the flow improver, or you can use the glaze medium for that too. So this way the paint moves. It doesn't just sit there. And then you're gonna have a hard time moving anything that you put on there, because it's a little bit of water here. Let's clean that off. See how I twist my brush so it keeps a point whenever you clean it off. All right, and I don't try not to use the tip of the brush either, because this way the brush won't last that long if you do that for the point. Alright, so you use this, kind of like using the side, you're just dragging the brush. That's what I'm doing. Just dragging the brush right there. Okay. You need to get that top up there. It's a little annoying. There we go. Alright. Little corner right there. Good. So, baby up here. dragging. You're not pointing it. You're dragging the brush. I mean, a nice fine long brush I use a short brush, whatever you're comfortable with. I'm comfortable with the longer brushes I've seen. That's why I've been buying. It holds more paint, but also, I just feel comfortable with the longer brushes. I like that. Okay, since I have a lot of paint left, and I don't want to throw it away, let's paint the hair over here. Right, his hair is black. It's not going to be totally black because you don't want to highlight and do all that other stuff. Let me take this thing off because it's driving me crazy. Put my regular glasses back on. Let's paint some of the hair. Since I got a lot of paint left over, and I don't want to waste it, let's just paint the hair. But then we'll give it some highlights later on. Alright, let me get a happy old brush, do most of it with it. Then we'll get in there with a smaller brush and get into the fine details. Alright, so we're going to paint the hair real quick over here. It's mostly all painted. Just get the stuff that you missed, or just give it another over. Because I used I don't know if that's regular paint or primer. I can't remember what I used. But anyway, let's just give it a quick coat of paint. Get in there. And we get closer to the face, I'm going to use a different brush. This for now is just to get into the creases and everything and get a good color in there. Because then when you do the highlights, you want to do the raised areas, but make sure you've got paint inside the crevices and everything. So it doesn't show when you. I see how I'm not going towards the skin, but I'm trying to get close enough. Okay, then we'll get in there with a smaller brush and do a little bit more details. Okay, let's get that stuff done in there. Let's get it all in there over here. Just try not to touch anything, while you're doing this. Right. Just get in there. Get in there where you think it needs it. You gotta get a little bit finer detail once you get close to the skin. And you don't want to get paint on the skin. Just get all that work. Okay. So this stuff might show once you put the other cap on. So make sure you paint it. Just don't paint where you're going to glue a piece. Another piece. Ooh, watch out over here. You got it, huh? Good. I know that air conditioner is a little annoying, it's a little loud, but it got really hot up here real quick. Like I said, I'm on the 4th floor, closer to the roof of the house. It gets really warm up here as soon as that sun starts to beat. It was a very nice day all day. It's the afternoon right now, but once the heat starts building up, it starts to get hotter up here, and me and heat don't do very well, so I'm not a big fan of it. So just let it cool off a little bit up here and make it more comfortable. Otherwise, I'm going to have to stop painting, and I don't want to do that because I'm on a groove right now, and I just want to keep doing this and finish it. This way you guys can get a I don't know how much this stuff is going to show underneath. I got to fit the hair in there, but I just want to make sure I cover whatever needs to be covered. So now, the tricky part right here. I can do it with this brush, but I don't know if I feel real comfortable doing it. This brush is very soft, so that's why I'm not sure about being too close to the face with this one. You know what I mean? The brush spreads too much and I don't want to get it on the face because it's soft. Soft bristles are spread out, and you might end up touching something you don't want to touch. So it's black. Black is a little bit of a pain to clean up. So there we go. Just lightly up there. Try to get as close as you can. I'm going to switch brushes in a minute. Okay. I'll hit the other piece of hair before I do that. Right. See, once you put color in the hair, it looks different, right? All right. Get the clip. I'm going to use a clip for this. I don't think the clip's going to hold it. Maybe. Maybe not. Just be careful with this and hit it where the places where it needs to be hit. Which is pretty good right now, but it doesn't really need a whole lot. Let's do this side first. I'm holding the other side. Let's get a quick pass. Okay. I don't want to paint. I just put too much paint on the palette, so I was like, well, I can always paint the hair. This way it doesn't go to waste. Try to save money. Things are getting a little hard out there for people, and I don't want to be wasting. Okay, so now I'm gonna go gently because I don't want this thing to pop on me right now. Alright. That's pretty good. Okay, so we'll let that dry on the side for now. Just gonna let it stand. Okay. Let that puppy dry there. And let's get a smaller brush. Clean this one real quick. And use a smaller brush. Use this one. Get into the real tight spots here. Get a little form pull right there. So go with the flow. Go with the hair. Get it just a little bit in there. Don't worry about it. And get in there with the Q-tip and clean it. Try to go as close as you can. Okay. Perfect. So, this is the base color for the black. The black. Okay. But then we're going to go in. I'm going to need the light a little bit here, so I'm going to bring this over. I can't see too well in here, but I'll push it back once I'm done. The base color, but then you're going to highlight. You're going to highlight with grays or, whatever. Browns. Brown's a good color for highlighting black. You want to make sure you get a good coverage on everything. Okay. Close to the ear. Got hair right there. Good coverage. And hold it this way. Get close to the hairline as you can. If you gotta come back, you come back and you do it again. There you go. There you go. Just be careful when you're touching that wet paint. Pull it off, right off. Painting acetone, recover that, you know. But if you pull paint out, whoosh, just go nice and gently. Try to get as close as you can. There you go. Got a little boo-boo there. I got a little bit of water there. Do it right. Try to get, if you make a mistake, get it right away, so this way it doesn't dry and there's a bigger paint to remove. Like I said, when you're doing stuff like this, try to anchor your arms down, so this way you're not moving around too much, and you're getting a better control of your brush and everything. And when you do small detail work, you know, you want to get in close to something, or you're going to do your eyes, or whatever, you know. Ooh, so try to get closer. There you go. That looks much better, right? The glare looks like it's not painted, but it is. I can see the camera, and I can see the screen. But, it's mostly what you guys are seeing right now is glare, but once I take the camera, the light out of the camera, you'll be able to see a little better. Inside right there is a pain in the ass to get to right here. But let me see if I can get to it. There we go. I'll get in here. Perfect. Alright. Get in there. Nice and close. A little dry brush later on. A little bit of color on the hair. So this way you can tell, you know, give the highlights and all that stuff like that. It's gonna look good. Okay. So I'm trying to put my hand in that putty. There we are. Sure you get every little underneath the hairs. All that. Straight up. You can come over with a little finer brush and you can do a little more detail with the hair. You know, I like to do that afterwards. I have to do all the highlights and stuff to see where it needs it and where it needs it. That looks looking good right there. Alright, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to seal this again, and then I'm going to do the eyebrows and the white of the eyes. Okay? I'm getting there, almost in the final stages there, guys. Be patient. Sorry this is taking so long, but you know, like I said, this is a process, man. And I'm showing you from A to Z. A to Z how to do this. Like, you know, we went step by step. Now, if you're patient enough to have follow me all the way over here, just hang on for a little bit longer because we're almost there. You know, you can see the results. Okay, let me push this light out for a minute. You don't see that much of a glare. There you go. Okay. You got the other pieces going to cover right on top. I'll seal that too. Okay. This is black. You're probably seeing some of the glare in there. This is all painted. This is all painted here. Oh, this is glare. I'm looking at the light, and I see it right here, and it looks fine. But when I see it on the camera, it looks like it wasn't painted. But it is. Okay. That came out good. It's looking good. It looks a little weird right now, but we'll see at the end. Alright. Let me seal. Let me dry and seal. I'm going to run the little hair dryer in it because I put a lot of paint on it. So let me seal it. Okay. And I'll be back for that. And we'll proceed with the rest of it. Okay? Alright, so let's start painting the white of the eyes. And I want to see how they look with the hair on there. Yeah, it's getting there. Looking good. So let's paint the white of the eyes, and I'm going to use using this bone white or white sands. It's a little bit more white. White sands. It's from Scale Color. It's got like a really hint of light. It's like an off-white, very light gray. I use this a lot for the eyes. Which one's the other one? Or I use bone white from Game Air. Okay. Which is a little bit darker. It's got like a little bit more of a grayish tone to it. Alright, but this one is not too white and not too dark. So I like to use that one. Alright, we're going to use the Scale Color one. So let's mix it up really well. Again, we're going to put a little bit of Floor and Tour in there just to help it move. Okay. And this over there. A little trusty mixing brush. One drop of that. And mix. Use a fine brush, and I'm going to switch my glasses because I got to really get in there. So again, I apologize if you're not going to be able to see it if I'm blocking you, but I got to get up and close and personal. So on that, so I'm going to use a small brush, thin brush, pointy brush to get in there with the white. Okay, so we get a little bit of water in there. Discharge. You don't want it too thick on your brush, so you don't want paint to get everywhere, but you do want to get some paint. You're going to have to do this a couple times. Remember, you got black in there, so we need to cover that black. And that's why I didn't go with a dark color, because you already got black as an undercoat. Okay. Gonna glaze in there. Go in there a little bit at a time. Alright. Hoping you guys can see that. Let it dry a little bit, and then go in and hit it again. Not how much paint on that. You want to put too much paint, discharge it, and then go in there. My printer's done, yay. Too much. So I'm going to want to go in there and just suck some of that up right there. There you go. Done? Yeah, it's done. Yeah, finally, we shut that off. I'm sure you guys are annoyed. See how I got white down there? That's alright because I'm going to cover that with a little bit of pink in a little bit. But you don't want to see, that's because I had too much. I think I might put too much flooring fluor in there. So now I guess I can clean that up. Alright, it's getting there. Sorry about the delay on this. It's a little bit, eyes are hard to do. They're not easy. You know, I don't want to do too much. Getting there. Alright. So I think that's it right there. We'll leave that in that corner. Corner of the eye. Yeah. The other corner. And just take a look back and just check to see where you're at. Because you don't want to keep on putting color where you might not need it. Alright. I need a little corner there. You know, covering black for the eyes is not easy either, but black gives you that outline. I'm happy with that. Okay. So before I seal that, I want to do the eyebrows. Okay. Ooh, this is going to drive me crazy. So I'm clean my brush. Okay. And I'm not going to use black. I'm going to use a black brown. And the reason why is I just don't think that, you know, eyebrows. I think if you go black, it's gonna look kind of funny. And I've done that just recently with one of my kits, and that's the one that I said before that people were making fun of me on Instagram. So I'm using a black brown by Vallejo. Okay. And that's the one that I was telling you guys. Somebody critiqued the eyeballs that I painted on one of my kids. And I'm kind of embarrassed to show you guys now. I mean, you go to my Instagram, you're going to be able to see it. But my Instagram is the same name as the channel. Just paint it. If you want to go there and check it, look it up and check it out, you're more than welcome to go see it. And I think you're going to know which one it is as soon as you see it. So, but yeah, so somebody critiqued it. I have to go with a grain of salt because I'm just starting, and I know I need to improve on a lot of things. I'm not saying I'm perfect, but so the kid has some pretty thick eyebrows here on the beginning, and I want to go a little bit bigger here and work my way down. I got a reference picture here online that I was looking at before, and just trying to capture at least that a little bit. Just want to try to get as close as possible because remember we're doing like a portrait. So you want to get as close as possible to. You want to use a thin brush. Just start off. Some of the flow on this is drying up really quick. So I don't want to put too much paint on here. But this stuff is coming out really thin, which is nice. Alright, so see, just get lines, just go work your way, and then won't go too much, okay? And then you just go back in there and start again, and just go, try not to go over the same line. You don't want to make it too thick of one line, you know what I mean? Just go in there and just pencil and get in between there. And just go nice and thick in the beginning, and then towards the end you want to fade it out. You know what I mean? So it's good that you start off from that end and this end, and your brush is already fading out the paint. Get a little more flowing through with my brush. Get some of that there. Once in a while, just go in there and clean your brush. Put it in water and just clean it out. There you go. I like that. See, not too thick. Okay. Excuse me. Not too thick. Okay. See that? Okay. Let's do it again. Oosh, I hate these glasses, man. They're just just once you lose focus on it, you gotta refocus your eye. And it's kind of. All right, so this one I'm going to turn upside down, so I want to get that. Okay. I know it's coming out a little thin right now, but we're gonna go back in. It's okay. Right. Go in there and just keep on doing it like this. There you go. This brush is super fine, man. I love it. Give me some super fine lines. Too many brushes are gonna do that. I need to clean this. I need to get so much paint out. Just putting too much paint on this brush is not good either. Alright, so let's do that again. Let's put a little flow floor. Very good. Alright, discharge. Just discharge enough until you get a nice fine line like that. There you go. And again, try not to go over the same line because it's going to look like it's too thick then. Alright? There you go. And if you mess up, just run a little bit of alcohol. If you don't like it. Better. Needs a little bit more on both eyes, so just get in there and just do a little bit more. It does have some pretty thick eyebrows in the beginning. Pretty pronounced. It's a young kid. I was thinking about doing 5 o'clock shadow, but he's a young kid. I don't know how old is he or whatever, but he's got a baby face, He doesn't have much of a facial hair. And I was looking at the pictures from the movie, The King, And yeah, it doesn't have a lot of hair, a lot of fine color. Just on a mustache. So I'm thinking about just doing that part right there. And see how it comes out? You can always wipe it off and use the little pastels. I'll show you how to do that. Alright, if you want it. If you want to hang out for a little bit more. There we go. I like that. Just a little thicker there. I like that. There we go. Alright. So I'm going to seal this. Pause this, seal this. And, wait. No. Let's do the 5 o'clock shadow. I don't want to keep on going up and down, and because I'm not going to be touching the same area. So hold on a second. Take this off because it's driving me nuts. And the color that we're going to use for 5 o'clock shadow, I'll tell you right now. Hold on a second. I use a certain color. Some people have used the ammo, Mig Jimenez ammo pigment powder, the gunmetal for 5 o'clock shadows. You know what happens with that is if you mess up, it's hard to clean and get off or blend very well. I mean, it works, but I'm not saying that I don't recommend it. Try it, but I get better results with this pastel. What color is this? Let me put a lid on it. That color is Payne's Gray Extra Dark. Okay? And it's got like a little bit of a blue tint to it. Okay? Payne's Gray Extra Dark. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a little bit of that. Alright? I'm going to go on the mustache. Put a little bit there. Don't forget that, when you blend and you spray to cover, it's going to get rid of most of this stuff. So it's not going to be around for too much. And just the mustache area. The kid doesn't have much of a beard. Doesn't much of anything. He's baby face. But he does have a little dark shadow there going on. Let me see. Make sure that I'm looking at a picture from the movie. Nothing on the chin. Nothing on the sides. Nothing. All right. Yeah. He's pretty well clean shaven too, Alright, so we're going to leave it like that. I'm not going to go too crazy. Just a little bit. Alright. Young buck, I wish I was this young again. Alright. So there we go with that. Let's blend it in. Don't mix your brushes. Remember what I said about that. Alright. Just gives it a little bit of a, not too much, just a little bit, that 5 o'clock shadow. It's perfect. That's a little bit more on this side. So for some reason just, there you go. Okay. Sorry. Yeah. That's good. Okay. So now you can seal it. Now you can pause it. Now you can go and seal. Where the hell is the rest of it? Yeah, so like I said, Payne's Extra Dark Payne's Gray, which is it's a good color for doing 5 o'clock shadows. It gives you that little grayish, bluish tint for that, which it works very, very well. I like even better than the Vallejo style, because that's like doesn't look very natural. This one does to me. Okay, so let me go, guys. I'm gonna go spray this, and I'll be back. All right, so hang on tight. Give me like 2 seconds and we'll continue. Okay, so let's do the eyes. I'm going to be using Archer eyes. I'm not going to paint them in. This video is taking way too long, so I'm going to probably have to split this video up in a couple sections. So I'm going to use these Archer eyes. These are the human iris decals for 1/6 scale figures. Alright, if you need, they have those different scales. They got for like superheroes, regular humans, aliens, and a bunch of other decals for other stuff. And you should check these guys out. They're pretty good. The only thing is that you got to be careful with these because they can tear up pretty easily. So you can't manipulate them too much. Alright, so you see I cut most of the white out. Okay, for the eyes that I chose, he has like grayish eyes. You know, I went online and tried to see, and you know, I can't get a really good picture, but from the movie, that's what I'm going with. Alright, so I'm going to try to get as close as I can with that. So there's the eyes. I cut most of the white out as close as I can, okay, from around from the decal. And I'm also going to use, after I'm done putting them in and they start to set, I'm going to use this micro saw. And you do it. What you do is you just you're going to use water to get the decal out. You're going to use micro saw to, what it does, it conforms to the shape of the eye, and it gives it more like a painted on look and not so much like a decal look. Okay, so this stuff works pretty good. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave this out here like this, and I'm going to use a small brush. All you need is water. It doesn't take that much to get the decal out. Okay, so what I'm going to show you is, I'm going to get a little bit of water here on this thing so I can pick it up. See, I'm going to pick it up, put it right next to the eye. Well, right there. Okay? And then I'm going to wet it. And I'm going to slide it out. And then I'm going to try to locate it the best I can. Now, the eye does have like a little glare, like a little white dot. You see it right there on the side right here, if you can. I don't think you can see that, but the white, there's a little bit of white in one corner of the eye. You want to keep that towards where you think your glare is, so it's going to look up. So keep both eyes looking the same way. So you want to keep that corner looking this way, to the right, high up, high right. Okay. Hopefully that makes sense. So and start wetting it. Sometimes they fold. Sometimes you got to do this 2 or 3 times because sometimes these stupid decals, they end up folding on you. And just get it wet. Try to keep it, you know, get enough water in there and just start brushing. And eventually it's going to release. And what you're going to do is you're going to try to position that decal exactly where you need it. Just doesn't want to help me out. There we go. Start off with a bigger brush. Put a little bit more water in it. And I'm getting enough water on that. Yeah, there we go. See how it released? Alright, so you don't want to get rid of the backing yet. You just want to tip it and kind of like start sliding out until it catches onto the eye. There you go. Then you can start pulling the backing out just a little bit at a time. A little bit more water. Always try to keep it a little bit wet. So this way it comes out a little bit easier. So there you go. Alright. Crap. Not easy. There's a couple times, you know. Let's try it again. I don't want to fold the stinking eye. Put it back on the paper if I can. There you go. Alright, let's try it again. Ugh. It came totally off. There we go, it worked out. Lucky. That was a lucky shot. Alright, so I'm wetting my not too much, but I'm wetting my brush to try to get the eye exactly where I want it. Okay. You can have him look to one of the sides if you want, but you're going to have to make sure that eyes, both of the eyes are looking the same way. Right? Otherwise it's going to look like, you know, he's got like his crooked eye or whatever. But alright. So let me leave that there for now. Let me not mess around too much. I'll fix it in a minute. I'll start with the other one. Get that one in. Just so we can position both eyes. Alright. Again. On the right side? Yep, it is. Okay. Alright, so let's get some water on that. Get it loose. Get it out. Doesn't take much. I said, remember what I said, it doesn't take much water. So you don't have to really soak it in. You just doesn't want to stay still, this thing there. Jeez. Usually I do a little better than this, but for some reason it just doesn't want to. See, I put it in one corner and I slide it out, and then I get rid of the paper. Once it loosens up, just start loosening up right about now. Just keep on dabbing it with a little bit of water. There you go, she's loose. Alright? So get it in right there. And just slide her right onto the eyeball. Just make sure you're getting it onto the eye. There you go. Alright, then you slide that little piece of cardboard out. Okay? And now you start messing with, put the eye where you need to put it. Make sure it's wet. There you go. Alright, just give me 1 sec. I gotta put my other glasses on. Because I need to see what the hell I'm doing. Alright. So. Making sure I'm recording because I don't want to be doing this again. So. Alright. Get the eyeball back in there. In the middle. Start up in the middle right there. There we go. Get really cockeyed right now, but there we go. You need to move it, put a little bit of more water in it so you get the spot that you want to get it. I kind of like it right there, this one right here. So I'm going to copy that with this one. So I'm going to have to move this in a little bit. There we go. Too much. So I'm going to come in a little more. It's too small. I'm going to put a little more pressure on it. I don't want to ruin the decal. I don't want to put that microsol. I don't think I want to put that microsol in there yet, because I don't want to tear. Because that's what the microsol does. It kind of like melts it on. So if you do it with the microsol now, you might end up tearing up the decal. And if you manipulate the decal too much, you're going to tear it up. So kind of try to get it. This thing doesn't want to move. There you go. Just a little bit. Come on, a little bit more. Just too cockeyed. Come on. There we go. There we go. There. Just a little bit more. If I have to go get another one and tear this one up, I'm going to have to do that, but don't want to. But he's moving in very slowly. See, the decal might be a little bit big. That's okay, because then I can go in there. Once it's set and you're done with it, I can cut that extra decal that's sticking up on the top a little bit, and I can cut that off later on. So that's with an X-Acto knife. You got to be very careful while you do that. There you go. He's looking up a little bit, like, you know, and I like that. Okay. a little. This one's still a little bit, just a little bit. Just get it just a little bit more. Is that it? Right there? There we go. Let me just move back out. What the hell? Doesn't want to help me out. I don't know what's up with that. It moves down very easy, very hard, but moves up very easily. There we go. Just get one more and then I'll leave it alone. There we go. Right there. Is that it? Am I happy with that? Not really. Okay. I'll get there. Eyes, I hate freaking eyes, man, you know? Especially small ones. You know, the big ones I do a little better. I can actually paint the bigger ones. But these small ones, I have a really hard time doing these small ones. That's why I use the decals for these little guys, you know, for this scale. That's why I like bigger scale. I like quarter scale figures and stuff. And just get a little bit more room to work with. There we go. There we go. Thank you for helping out right there. A little better. Just a little better. Not perfect, but a hell of a lot better. Not perfect yet. Okay. I don't want to mess around with it too much. I'm going to leave them right there. It's got a good look. Alright, so now microsaw. Okay, so you're going to dip your brush in there. You're going to just run it. Just that right there. Ah, you son of a bitch. Learning with me, guys. There you go. That's what happened. See, the thing wouldn't move at all. Now I decided to just pop out. It's like that almost folded on me right there. Come on, before you tear up on me. A little bit higher. A little bit to the right. There you go. That's better. A little bit down. Alright. Alright, so microsaw is in there. So hopefully it'll do its job. And then you're going to put, after you're done with all this, you're going to put a little coat. Let it dry very well. You're gonna seal it. Okay? And then at the end, when you're all done with the face, you're going to put gloss on the lips and gloss on the eyes. Alright? That's it. I think we're done. Just going to glue that piece of hair, which I think I'm going to do now. I'll wait for this thing to dry. And make sure that I have... I'm happy with that. I'm happy with that, right there. Okay. That's even better than what it was before. You know, it's not perfect, but you know, I'm happy with that. Shit. Alright, we still need to put a little pink inside the eyes, okay? Which we're gonna do in a little bit after we seal it, because I don't want to put pink now and then mess it up again. So let me clean this up. These two brushes. I want to get the microsaw on. Get that microsaw out of the brushes. Alright. That's that for that. Let it dry a little bit before I put any more sealer on it. And let's glue this on. Let's put a little crazy glue. Let's see a glue. Okay. Some glasses. Just while we wait to dry. I like it. I'm looking at him right now. Looking at these eyes. And I like the way it came out. Put a little pink in these eyes and it should be good. Alright. I know I cleaned this up yesterday because I used this, but this glue freaking stuff is strong. One of the guys yesterday, we have like this little Friday night meet up on, go online and chit chat and BS. One of the guys, I think it was Gilbert, or one of the other guys was saying like the CA glue is, those big bottles is just a waste because, you go through so much of it because it dries up, and they're right about that because, stupid, here we go. There we go. What do you think, guys? It's got a little bit of glare. I still got to mat it down. So you know what? I think I'm going to use that right now. Instead of just going out there and overspraying, I'm going to use the sealer from Vallejo to mat it and then gloss what we need to glue. Gloss. All right. So what I have here is matte varnish from Vallejo, which is Mecha varnish. This stuff will like mat it down pretty good. You can put it on the airbrush. Okay. You put a little flow in. No. You know what? Yeah. Let me see how this stuff comes out. I might have to thin it down a little bit, but no, it's pretty thin. Let's see how it comes out. Alright, so let me make sure these eyes look good. They're down. They're not popping up or anything like that. There you go. Good. Mat down the hair a little bit. You see some of the hair is a little glossy back there. Yeah. Good. Now you can see that better. See how I took the glare away because it's not so shiny. Right? Okay? Yeah. There you go. Okay. Let that dry a little bit. Then we'll do another coat. Do another coat, just real quick. Okay, just let that dry a little bit. Getting there, guys, getting there. Alright, I got this little graphene gray from Scale Color, which I want to highlight the hair a little bit. Alright, and I'm going to use that. Put that there. A dry brush. Okay. And there's another color I'm going to use, which is probably to bring that down a little bit. We're going to use the if I can find it, what the hell is it? Here it is. The black brown. Alright. So we're going to use the graphite gray first. And then to tone it down. So you don't want to give him like old hair or good looking guy. You're going to use a dry brush. Okay? It's a dry brush. There's different sizes. I got a real big one here. And then I got a real small one. Usually I use, for this scale, I'll probably use these two small ones. Alright? And what you do is you grab one of these, you use a piece of paper or here, you can just get rid of a lot, but you don't want to put a whole lot of paint on the, keep a lot of paint. This is dry brushing, it's just basically just like a little bit of paint that you're going to put on to highlight. Okay? And what you want to do is get rid of most of the paint. Okay? You're getting rid of most of the paint that you put on there. Alright? Check it in here. There you go. So what you're going to do is you're going to dry brush the high points on the hair. Okay? And that's what we're going to be doing. Just giving you variations on the hair, the different colors from the lighting. It's black hair, but you know, same thing. Like, you know, light will hit the hair a certain way. You want to accentuate those things. Okay, so basically what you're doing is just dry brushing, picking up a little bit of color here and there. Not too much. You don't want to make him look like an old man with gray hair. All he's doing is highlighting certain spots, like here in the front. Okay. Just get rid of all that little bit of paint that you have. Just dry brushing. See how it just gives it a little bit of a highlight. And then if you need to, you use that black brown just to matte it down a little bit. Bring it back. A little bit more variation on the hair. If you do too much in one area, you could just fix that with the black brown. Like I just did right there in the front, which I can fix that in a minute. Alright. Just go around. See, it doesn't look like black. Now you got a little bit of, you know, change in hair color. A little bit. You know, a little highlights here and there. Uniform everything a little bit. There you go. To the front because the sun is hitting the front of the hair a little bit. There you go. Just a little bit of difference everywhere. Okay. I'm going to get that black brown. Get rid of it as much as you can. Alright. Go around. And just give it different tones there. Mix it up a little bit. That looks really good right now. Yeah. Fix that front right. Just put a little bit too much paint there. Right there. Yeah, it looks better. And then you go back with the gray, okay, and just do a little bit more if you want, or do over the brown. Go back to that, and get some of that paint back a little bit. Just put a little bit more. There we go. All right. What you're doing is just dry brushing the crap out of it. I like that. I think I'm going to leave it just like that. I think I'm going to leave it just like that. I really like that. There you go, guys. Look at that. Alright. Spray some more of that. Alright. This thing is coming loose now. Alright. There you go. Matte it down a little bit more. So I'm not doing it too close either. I like that. Yep. What's up? Alright. Pink. I have this pink that I like to use. You can use any pink. You can make your own or whatever, but I have from Createx. It's called Natural Lip. And that's what I'm going to use for the eyes. For the corner of the eyes. So I'm going to switch glasses. And underneath the bottom part of the eyelid on the inside, that's where we're going to put that color. Okay, and if I have to put a little bit on the lip, you know, if I thought the lips were a little bit too, you know, purpley, like I said before, which they're not, they actually came out very good. I would use a little bit of this to soften that purple up a little bit, but here, let me show you. So just barely. This is very thin paint, so you need to dilute it. All right. So you're gonna go in the corner of the eye, right there, okay? And then the bottom of the lid, all right, in the corner, just a little bit in that corner. That's it. Very thin, very thin. Not a lot of paint on your brush. And remember what I said. Don't go with the point. You use the, you know, drag the side of the brush. All right. So you're gonna go right there in that corner. Put a little pink in there. Right there. That corner of the eye. Okay. And the bottom. And then the other corner, just put a little bit, just a little point. And put a little point right there in that back end right there. There you go. A little bit more. At least a little bit more because it's got a little bit of that black showing through. And I didn't get that corner very well with the white, but we can fix that with a little bit of pink. There you go. Same thing with the other side. I can see a little black still. You know, the black was very hard to cover, you know, but I find it easier if you do black instead of just going straight with the white, because then it's just, it doesn't look like it's, the eyes are popping out, you know, and it gives a little more shadow in certain areas. There you go. I like that right there. Get a little more pink in there. I'm not doing a lot, guys. I'm just doing like a little dab, like kind of glazing a little bit, because this paint is very thin. You can almost airbrush without thinning it inside your airbrush. That's how thin this stuff is. Alright, that's good. A little more pink down there. That's good. I'm happy with that. That looks good right there. That looks badass. Alright, so see some of that sticker sticking out from the top of the lid. And remember I said you can go with a knife and cut it, but you gotta be really careful, man. You gotta be like super, just cut on that top of that lid and get rid of that sticker. Gotta be real careful with this stuff. I'm gonna show you. Because remember, I was having a bitch of a time trying to cut, trying to position this eye, and yeah. So, you know, I think a little bit of overlay. There you go. Just went over that eyelid. There you go. Good. There you go. A little bit cut in there. There you go. Alright. Okay, same thing with the other side. It's got a little bit sticking out. Just very gently. Remember, you got a ton of layers of, you got to be real careful if you don't do that. Okay, I hate, it's no easy way to do it. I mean, this is how I do my eyes. I know may sound a little crazy. Matt Morozic, he does it a little bit different. You can hit him up and try to figure out, you know, an easy way for you to do it. But like I said before, I hate doing eyes. I have the hard time with the small ones. Like, you know, I do paint some eyes. I'm not that bad. But, you know, when it comes to small, I have no skills. Okay? I got bad eyes. I got old man eyes. So there we go. There's a little piece over there I gotta fix. You gotta be real careful. I don't want to rip. You know, you don't want. You want to make sure you're cutting it, and then make sure you're not pulling. There we go. You're looking good, dude. There you go. All right. Nice. Very nice. Nope. Okay. Gloss. And we're done, guys. Let me take this off. I want to break this video up in probably in 2 pieces and two episodes, I mean, because it is long, and I apologize, and I'm sorry, but this is how it is. These things can take, you know, I wasn't expecting to spend the whole day up here. I was supposed to go mow the lawn, but, you know, it is what it is. You know, I'm here. I dedicated myself today to do this for you guys. So I got some gloss varnish here. You can use a floor wax. There's a floor wax out there. They, I can't remember the name, but there's one that's made by Pledge now. Pledge took over the recipe for an old floor wax that guys use for gloss stuff. You can use that. You can use any kind of gloss that you can brush on that they'll shine through. But I like using that floor wax. I just don't know where the bottle is, and I want to finish up this video. And if I have to go over it again later on, I'll do that. But basically, you get a gloss varnish in liquid, okay? And you're going to do the bottom lip. And then you're going to do the eyes. Okay. That eye's like below. Probably do it a couple times. Let it dry. Go over it again. If you don't think that shine is good enough, you know what I mean. Let it sit like this, so this way that gloss is not dripping out and, you know, looking like it's crying. All right. All right, guys. That's it. Here's your finished product. I'm gonna put pictures up too. Just get a better idea what this sucker looks like. Okay. I'm really happy the way it came out. I'm really, really happy the way it came out. It came out looking really good. The skin tone is very, very good. I know you guys are having a hard time probably seeing that, but let me see. It's not too bad, I think. Alright. And then I'm going to glue him to my bust. I'm not going to show this the completion of the rest of the bust on this video. This is just for skin tones. But eventually I have another kit there that's extremely complex. I'm going to try to go in and do some of it to show you guys how I did the armor and maybe some leather work on that one. Alright, but it's a really beautiful kit. It's made by Ritual Castings, and it's called Cassandra. If you guys want to go to his website and check him out, Ritual Castings. He does a beautiful job, and this is what it's going to look like once once it's glued on and everything. Right there. All right. So I still got to finish painting a couple things on this, and then it's complete. I'll post it up on my Instagram. Instagram is the same name. Just just paint it. And just if you want to visit that, that's fine. Say hello, whatever. Give me some comments. You're gonna try my method. Show me your results, and I would love to see it, man. I would love to see what you guys do. You know, and if you use it, you know, just give me put a comment there, put a like. You know, I'm gonna try to keep on posting more videos. So if you want to subscribe, go ahead and, you know, hopefully get notifications of, you know, when new stuff comes up. I got a couple of kits like I showed you earlier today that what I'm planning on doing in the near future. The next kit that I'm going to paint, though, is going to be a garage kit. So this way you guys get an idea of, you know, just differences and stuff like that. You know, I just want you guys to see what's out there. You know, it's not just 3D printing. There's a whole world of modeling out there. you know, that you can discover and, you know, and things to do. But there you go, right there. I'm going to take a picture, post it along with the video, so this way you guys get a better close-up look at what it looks like. I'm really happy the way you came out. I am. I'm glad you guys were part of this today. I know it was a little long, but you know, hopefully you guys are learning something, man. Okay. Hopefully you guys are learning something. If you do, let me know. I really would like to hear from you and to see the results and stuff like that. If you want to share on Instagram with me or on Facebook, look me up over there too. Same thing. So I'm gonna post a picture of this guy finished. All right, looks a lot better close up right here than, you know, with all that glare. I'm trying to get a good picture of it, but you can see all the real detail in the face done. All right, guys. Peace out. Hopefully I see you next time.